Denny O'Neil once said, famously, that the editors, writers, and artists of superheroes, and specifically he was talking about Superman and Batman, are not writers and artists and editors, but they are the custodians of folklore. Well, with all due respect to the great Denny O'Neil, who passed away just last year, we are the true custodians of folklore. I am Kevin.
And I'm Rachel.
And this is Shelf Life. Did you like that one?
Oh, yeah, that was good.
Yeah.
That was good.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you. This is the first
also very
season of a
true,
brand.
yeah.
Yes, absolutely. That we are the only source of truth. This is a first season of a brand new podcast, bringing you a look at everything under the pop culture sun, be that movies, TVs, comics, games, sports, professional sports entertainment, books, and anything else that we can possibly think of. And the objective of our little show is to find out what belongs on your shelf, what truly has shelf life. And today, we are bringing you something special because we are going on to a new journey. We are going into a new realm, one that may not have been done quite in this format before, although I will shout out a potential YouTube show that does something similar to what we do. But, Rachel, what is on the docket today to be on the shelf?
Oh, a classic in any sense. A lovely comic book titled Wolverine, Old Man Logan.
Yes. We are diving into the world of comics, and we should explain ourselves a little bit. So this is Wolverine, Old Man Logan, written by Mark Millar, drawn by Steve McNiven. It is a Marvel comic that came out in 2008. A couple of things. Why we're choosing Old Man Logan to start off with on our comic book adventure, how we're going to do these comic books. And I've thought about this, Rachel, so twofold. So first of all, why Old Man Logan? Well, we want to introduce the comics, and we need to introduce it to not only all of you lifers out there that know and love comic books, but also those that have no idea what the hell the continuity is of the comic book world. And these things have been around for nearly 100 years at this point. I mean, Captain America just celebrated his 80th anniversary. Batman and Superman are even older. Wonder Woman, I think, is just as old.
Wow, yeah.
Captain, maybe older.
You don't realize that unless you really think about it or look into it. It's just like, oh wow, that is actually a lot older than you think.
Yeah. And because of that, there is a dearth of continuity. Not all of it matters. No. But there's so much that I know that the one thing that I think a lot of people think of when they think of comic books is I don't know where to start. Where would I start? How do I read it?
Absolutely.
And something like Old Man Logan allows you to not have to know any of that backstory. Rachel, why don't you tell the folks at home why that is? Give a little bit of the plot synopsis of what's going on in Old Man Logan.
Okay. So the idea is that we are following a man named Logan. This is actually it's a story arc of Logan 50 years after an event occurred that brought down the superheroes. And this whole idea is that Logan goes on a sort of he takes it's kind of like he goes on a quest, but it's a road trip across the new United States that leads him to a new phase.
To find himself.
Yeah, it's kind of like he's re-finding himself.
He's being reborn.
Yes, in a way.
Wolverine might be anyway.
Well. Yes, because this is Logan, mind you. That's why I said Logan.
Yes, it's Logan. It's an alternate universe, an alternate future. Really, it's an alternate future story.
Aren't they all?
Well, this one is specifically a alternate future of what the Marvel universe would be. And it's Mad Max meets Unforgiven. If anyone, if the listeners are familiar with Mad Max or Unforgiven, it's a post-apocalyptic world, like Rachel said, and it's about a man that, for those that are unfamiliar with Wolverine or Logan, as he goes by, he is a man that was one of the best there. He was the best there is at what he does, and what he did was not very nice.
Right.
He was a killer on the side of good, but he would kill to get to save the world.
Yeah, they called him an animal. He was more animalistic than human.
Yes, and in this environment, he has sworn off violence, very similar to Unforgiven with Clint Eastwood. So the reasoning for picking a story that is set in an alternate universe is simple. It's for those of you that aren't familiar with comic books, setting it in something like this makes it easier for us to bring you into this world and to allow you to get a little bit of a handle of these characters, get a little bit of an understanding of something that can be done with these characters. Rachel, I won't speak for you, but I am a sucker for alternate universe stories.
No, I like those too. Yeah.
I'll read them all the time, no matter they can be hit or miss for sure, but I always get sucked into reading it.
I think it's because when they're alternate universes, you kind of have a lot more freedom to play.
There's more creativity. Yeah.
Yes.
It's like the Treehouse of Horrors with The Simpsons. You get to play with them a little bit more.
Right, exactly.
In the Marvel universe, these are called what ifs sometimes. There's what if comics, and they're not always called what ifs. They can happen in alternate worlds. We'll talk about those. And some of those arcs are better than others. We're familiar with some of those arcs more than others, but that's why we're here. And obviously, listeners, let us know if there are particular story arcs that we should cover on the show, because we definitely will.
The bad or the good, obviously. Because
yes,
I mean,
absolutely.
heck, why not read and look at the bad and kind of critique it and see what's wrong with it and see why that story just did not work.
Absolutely. And there's some that we might think are better than... Old Man Logan isn't necessarily the most unique, only because the idea of an alternate universe with taking a superhero has been done before. Mm-hmm. At the very lowest of the low, with a book called Spider-Man Reign, which is garbage. But it's so much garbage that it might be self-parody. It might be a parody of these types of books. It's that dumb. Mm-hmm. But it's like an old Spider-Man. We'll do it one day because it's really bad.
Worth it.
But
add it to the list.
It goes to the absolute. Yeah, there you go. And then the absolute opposite end of that is a comic book from the 80s called The Dark Knight Returns, which is considered one of the greatest comic books ever written on the DC side, and it's about an aging Batman and an aging DC universe. Interesting
how that tends to be one of the best, because we have Old Man Logan and pretty much Old Man Batman then.
It's because you're letting them age. Let's talk about see if we can get the first book on the shelf or not, and talk about Old Man Logan. So like we said at the start of the show, Old Man Logan from 2008, written by Mark Millar and Steve McNiven. Mark Millar, kind of a prolific writer, he writes a lot of his own stuff now, but I can give you, if I throw out some stuff that he has written or has been adapted into movies or TV shows, Kick-Ass, Marvel's Civil War, Old Man Logan, Wanted, Jupiter's Legacy just came out as of this recording, so he has written a lot of stuff. Kingsman, I think he did Kingsman. I'm not a big fan of Mark Millar's writing, for the most part. I'm not the biggest fan. I think a lot of times his stuff is adapted much better than the source material.
Okay.
Kick-Ass. I'm looking in your direction.
Yeah.
But
add it to the list.
Both of them. The thing And I mean, Rachel, you can give me your opinion. The things I know you've read from him are this and Civil War. He tries to be edgy in like a teenager way sometimes. We'll get into it in this book, how he does that. But like there's some stuff where it's like, all right, that didn't like that's not really true to the characters. You're just doing that because you wanted like an adult situation.
Yeah, I can see what you mean by that. It's kind of like, okay, well, I'm gonna just like really push him down and really make him dark. But is that really what that character and personality would have done if this circumstance would have come around? I see what you're saying.
And he wrote the Ultimates to the Ultimate Universe, which is an alternate Marvel Universe version of the Avengers.
Okay.
And that's like, well, I mean, add it to the list, but like it takes the ideas of there's more wife beating than is probably necessary to get the point across. Like it's just these like things where it's like, okay, we get it. Like it's mature, but like you're almost making it. You're not doing it with purpose. You're just doing that stuff, and
you're doing it for the shock factor more so than the story.
Yeah, because doing any of that stuff is absolutely fine if it serves the purpose of the story, but sometimes I feel like he does it because he thinks it's funny or edgy, and it doesn't serve the purpose of the story. So anyway, rant aside about Mark Millar, he is the writer of this, and I do think he is a good writer. I do think he's a very, very good comic book writer. Superman Red Son is another one that he did, and he does very good at taking these characters and like twisting them like a bit, and
right.
So I definitely won't say that. It's just that a lot of his stuff you look at and you like read them or you read summaries of them. Like I'll be honest, I have not read everything by Mark Millar, and it just does come across a little bit like I don't know if that was necessary. But on the other side of that, this comic is drawn by Steve McNiven, who also he's partnered with Mark Millar on Civil War. He did some Amazing Spider-Man. Oh, well, Brand New Day for Amazing Spider-Man, but like like some different New Avengers stuff, Dark Reign, things like that. And I will say this. I am a huge fan of Steve McNiven's drawing style.
No, yes. I agree. I think it looks really fantastic.
But I liked where you were going with this, Rachel. So if you had to describe kind of the style of the book and the artwork, like how would you describe it?
Well, like as I was saying, so it's definitely has that dark feel, and when we go kind of into the flashback moments, there's like a huge, heavy like shadow of darkness that's put onto it, but like some of the colors really shine through to get you like in that moment, in that feeling. Present timeline with Logan, it's kind of like he's got a bright background, like it's kind of like in the back there, but then everything about him is very like shaded and muted and kind of washed out. It has meaning to it, like the way that those colors are brought in, and the lighting and the shading is very contrast, so it does bring out the different areas even more. I don't know if that described it well for you, but
No, I think that's good.
But like we start off in a desert, so like that's why when I say like, oh, the muted tones and like there's not much color, but when the colors do pop up, it's kind of like, oh, you're drawn to it, and it's the whole point. Exactly.
Yeah. There's a lot of blood in this.
Yes, and the blood is very in some points vibrant.
Yes. Well, and we should be clear when we say this. For people that aren't familiar with Old Man Logan or with the Marvel Universe in particular, not every book is like this.
No. This one's
far
got some
more violent than most Marvel books get.
It's heavy. This one's a bit heavy in some points.
But it is very fun, and I want to make sure that, because we're talking about the ink and the coloring, and those people never get a lot of credit, and they should, because Steve McNiven definitely drew this, and you can tell by the way that it's drawn. But
yeah, absolutely.
The inkers on this: Dexter Vines, Mark Morales, Jay Leistein. The colors: Mari Hollowan, Christina Strain. Oh, there's like 7 of them: Justin Bonser, Jason Keith, Nathan Fairbairn, Paul Mounts. they have to do a lot of jobs too of inking this, coloring this, making sure that it looks the way that Steve McNiven says it, and Mark Millar says like how they want it to look. But colors and inkers usually don't get a lot of credit. It usually goes to the pencilist and
which is interesting.
The writer.
Which is weird, considering a comic is like very much so an art piece, very much so a drawing.
I don't know how the business works enough to know like, are all inkers and artists, do they just work on random stuff and they don't necessarily have like a style and they're just going by what the artist drew?
No, I think they definitely have a style. I think they have to.
I don't know. Folks at home, let us know. I don't know the answer to that. I don't know. I just don't know.
I mean, I would imagine they choose an artist and everything, and like the inkers and all of that based on the fact that they have similar styles, right? I mean, I haven't
really thought about it.
Maybe when it's not cohesive.
Oh
my gosh. Maybe when we don't like the art, though, that's the problem. They didn't pick the right people to work together.
Yeah, I don't know. So one more thing before we get into the book, I want to talk a little bit. Because I realize that we have some listeners, hopefully, that we have a wide enough listener base that don't necessarily know a lot about Wolverine. And he is the star of this book. Mm-hmm. So I want to be able to give you just a hint, just a minute with Wolverine.
Oh, am I timing this?
But yeah, go ahead. Yeah, because if the episode is 3 hours, folks, that's, hey, the pandemic might be over. You may have to be doing a commute at this point when this episode dropped. So enjoy it. Anyway, so just to give you an idea. And as Rachel kind of, or we've kind of already said, like he is a mutant, which in the Marvel universe, he was born with powers. Mutants in the Marvel universe are used for any sort of thing that can be kind of called as that are, I was going to say prejudiced against. Is that the way to say it? I don't know, but they've been used as allegories for minorities, for gay people, for nerds, for basically anyone that gets oppressed.
Right.
Because the way that it works is because mutants are born with superpowers, the public is afraid of them. Yep. As opposed to your superheroes, like, I mean, people are afraid of Spider-Man too for different reasons, but like as opposed to your superheroes that gain their powers through science or mysticism or whatever.
Money.
Yeah. Yes. So because they're born that way, they're kind of feared. It's always been kind of a tipping point in the Marvel universe because it's always like, well, how come the Avengers and Fantastic Four are okay, but people hate the X-Men? And in more modern comic books, they put them on a little more even keel, where there is more of like a public at large is kind of like, no, they're all kind of like
the same. Yeah. Well, because I mean, if you think about it, the ones you were talking about are either created by science and like the military or something that we kind of look at in a different way, right? Versus, okay, you were genetically born with this, you probably don't know how to even like do anything that you have, right? Like, can you control
they're
it?
The most dangerous.
Like, we gave you this power, so you should be able to like learn and control it. But you were born with this. I don't know. Like, and a lot of the times with the mutants, they get stronger as they get older. So like now it's getting more powerful, and some of them are kind of scary, are kind of uncontrollable, and that I think is what really brings fear to people with the mutants.
So when it comes to Wolverine, he goes by Logan. I won't give away his entire backstory because there's another comic book for that, especially if you're just joining us to listen and you don't intend to read any comics. But I think a lot of people know him because of Hugh Jackman. So Hugh Jackman plays him in the X-Men movies for 17 years, 18 years.
Has it been that long?
10 movies or something like that. And he's probably the most famous X-Men. Mm-hmm. The X-Men are a group of mutants, a mutant superhero team that fights for human and mutant equality and peace. They want the conduit when Stan Lee and Jack Kirby made Charles Xavier, is that Charles Xavier was kind of like a Martin Luther King type, that like he wanted everyone to live in harmony. Mm-hmm. No Charles Xavier in this book though, But in the adapted version of this book, Charles Xavier's all over it.
Right.
The Old Man Logan movie,
yes,
which will be on the list of, I'm sure Rachel already had it on there,
so
we don't have to add it.
It's on there.
Does take a bit of bits of the premise of this, but the Wolverine was not created by Stan Lee or Jack Kirby. He was created by Roy Thomas, Len Wein, and John Romita. He was created in the 70s. The first thing he was supposed to do was be a foil to the Incredible Hulk, which is key to this book. Rachel, any idea why he would be... Any idea why he would be They create... The idea is they hire Logan, they hire Wolverine to stop the Hulk. Why would they do that?
Well, because of the power that he actually possesses, and
which is?
He has a healing factor. He can heal. So if anything happens to him, he heals that piece of his body.
Can't be stopped.
Right. And the Hulk is a big guy. So if anybody knows who the Hulk is,
big dude.
Big
Hulk.
Big
I
green
feel
dude.
like anybody that can understand us talking knows who the Hulk is.
I would think so. But
Hulk's a household name. Hulk's fucking royalty. If the Hulk walked into your house, you would set a seat at the table for the Hulk.
Oh,
Him
boy.
and the Pope. I think they're equal. Get out the fine china. Hey, get out the china. The Hulk's here. Hulk, how are you doing? What would you like for dinner? I don't know if I can do a Hulk, but I'm gonna try.
Wait, are you doing a Hulk or? So he's already in Hulk form. Okay.
Hulk wants steak.
That's beautiful.
And that was the Hulk coming to dinner. Thank you.
It's beautiful.
Thank you. So yeah, that was the initial idea behind Wolverine, but he gets a more interesting backstory as the years go on. He basically doesn't remember his past. He also has a extra little bit of a power, and that is that not only is he have a healing factor, he has some extra senses. He also has these claws that come out of his hands. He can extract them from his hands. It's part of
3 on each hand.
adamantium skeleton. Adamantium, a fake element,
as far as we know.
Marvel. Adamantium, of course, if you think about the Greek root word of that, it's indestructible metal. So not only can he re-heal, but he has claws that are indestructible that pop out of his hands.
And when you say exactly. When you say claws, it's actually like he's bringing the bones from his hand, like inside of him, outside of his body, that are like swords, pretty much. Yeah, like knives.
Swords, yeah. That's also key for this book. So I'm not just bringing that up because I think no one that's listening doesn't know who Wolverine is. But for those that aren't,
some people might not.
Those two facts very key to this. So yeah, he doesn't know his past. He joins the X-Men. He becomes a hero. He has a million adventures, and then one day, all the heroes die, and 50 years later, we get to Old Man Logan. After the break, a word from our fake sponsor, and we will get in to Old Man Logan. Hello, mighty Marvelites. It's your pal, Stan the Man Lee, coming to you through a poorly done impression by your podcast host from beyond the grave. Stan, stop it. Oh, why, it's my best friend Jack Kirby. We work together here in heaven. Yeah, best friend. Hello, everyone. Same bad impressionist of Jack Kirby over here. I'm here today to talk to you about an exciting opportunity to take the whole family to an all-new attraction in New Babylon. Stan, it's not real. You notice, right? It's a fake sponsor. It's a gimmick. It's just part of a different universe imagination stuff that was written for the comics. Jack, I told you you could do this with me if you just were able to say your name, and you could just be a part of this. So just okay. Are you tired of Hammer Falls and its overpriced Mjolnir replicas and threats of murder by its oppressive overlord? Well, a new museum in New Babylon with exhibits featuring the president and his benevolence is here, and it's brought to you proudly by Stan Lee. Stan, the Babylon, it's fake. It's a fake sponsor, Stan. It isn't real. It's supposed to be funny. It's like a take on all of these, these weird sponsors that podcasts get all the time. It isn't supposed to be something that you actually have to plug. I know that you have to sell everything, but this one isn't even yours. It's like all the times that you go out there and you say, no, all of these different things, they weren't just yours. I know they weren't. No, hold on. You told Ditko he didn't make Spider-Man. Now, Jack, you stop right there. I gave you plenty of credit, and the whole world knows that Jack Kirby made the Avengers with me in the Fantastic Four. The Silver Surfer would have been nothing but a gray naked man if I didn't come and tell you to make him into a cosmic hero. Well, he's got me on that one. I can't even actually dispute that. Everyone knows that, you do all of these different things, Jack. I think everyone is very, very well aware of all your contributions, and I'm not just talking about myself. Let me just say this. Folks, Stan is the best salesman that we have, but he's got a little too much time up here. He likes to find new stories for us, but let me see if I can take over for once. Luckily up here we're even, but not everyone gets the credit while they're alive. And folks, instead of taking the fake sponsors word up here, why don't you take a look at the Hero Initiative? It's a non-for-profit looking out for old comic creators that may not have gotten the due credit they deserve and are looking for a little help out there. They might not have been able to get, all of the royalties and stuff like that when they were around in the comic book industry. That's, I suppose that's it's a good idea. I was actually very, very supportive of it myself back in the day. Well, I did make the Hulk. That's part of this story. We made the Hulk, Stan. We made the Hulk. Yeah, we made the Hulk. That's true. Yes, So, folks, while Stan and I stay up here trying to come up with new ideas, maybe we can inspire some people that are down there for you. Why don't you do this for us? It would be a great little help to all those old comic book creators that don't get all the credit that they deserve. Just do this for me, all right? And, Jack Kirby, your favorite, your godfather of comics, right here. And now back to your show. Shelf Life, I love it! I'm Jack Kirby over here! Excelsior! Was that Stan Lee and Jack Kirby?
I don't know.
What's going on?
They're like arguing. I have no idea.
I'm pretty sure that's all they do.
Yeah, that's true.
I'm not surprised.
I'm not surprised.
Yeah, two classic guys though. Gotta love them.
Oh yeah.
I don't know how. I'm surprised smoking is allowed in heaven because I don't see Jack Kirby like putting up with that. So I'm glad that there's a smoking section in heaven.
Works out.
Okay. We're back, and we are about to get into Old Man Logan.
Should we start with the cover art?
Yeah, go ahead. I'll let you describe the cover art because you're the artist.
The cover art is pretty great. What I'm looking at is, I'm assuming, the back and the front, right? Because it kind of feeds into each other.
Well, we're reading. Are you looking at the graphic novel, or are you looking at the issue 1?
The graphic novel, I believe.
Oh yeah. You're right. Yes. So chapter 1, which is what Wolverine issue 266 or something like that.
Yeah, Wolverine 2003,
Wolverine
number 66.
Yes.
The cover art is actually pretty cool. So it kind of pops together different characters that you may meet along the way, kind of giving you an idea of what you're seeing. The colors are great. It's like a sunset with a lot of reds and things like that. And then you see, like, in the corner, these green people. So we may have mentioned, the Hulk at one point. So you kind of get an idea of who they could be. Then we have these two old men. There seems to be some type of what I would call a Jeep. It looks like a Jeep. Like a truck. A Jeep. So and then that's all on the right side. But if you flip the novel itself over, or if you look at the full cover as one picture, it also looks like there's some type of monster, as well as Captain America's skull right there on the back
with a hole in the head.
Yes, with a hole in the head. So that's interesting.
And flaming arrows.
Yes, flaming arrows.
Which I can't tell if you can tell Hawkeye's shooting him. I don't think you can.
No,
on
I
the other
don't think
side.
so. He's not shooting. He's driving.
No. Oh, is that what he's doing?
Yeah, he's
Oh, it is.
driving.
He's holding a wheel.
It's
Okay.
it's a
I
little
didn't
it's a
know what was
little
in his
off-putting
hand.
because it's like he's driving, but the truck is below him, so it's a little weird. So like
Well, 'cause
I
that
don't know.
truck in itself. That truck's a character.
The truck itself is a character, but yeah. So
I'm looking at my graphic novel copy, my trade paperback copy. So I have variant covers as well. But yeah, that is definitely the official cover of the book.
and then right off the bat, I mean, you can see like the style, and then it's must be a bit darker because of how the contrast is so strong in it and everything, especially in Logan's face.
Yeah, very detailed lines in a lot of this book.
Absolutely.
So we start off the book. There's a prelude that starts with some narration, and it tells us that there was a night that the heroes fell, and it's a mystery as to what happened to Wolverine. He's the biggest mystery of them all, and it's the night that the bad guys won. And he either was broken or he got tired of fighting, and either way, he disappeared into a simpler life, and he has decided that he will never pop his claws again. And it's been close to 50 years since then. And the next page gives you the start, and I don't know if there's like some sort of, there's no score, it's a book, but I always read comic books. Rachel hates it because I read comic books slowly because I always like try to like imagine it as a moving picture in my head.
I do the same thing. You just
So,
like,
like-
you could draw out one issue of a comic book though for like weeks, and I don't understand how.
But the first panels, it shows like a disheveled Wolverine. He's all bloodied. He's walking away into the distance. And then the next shot is clearly in the future. There's just this dirt desert and an old man riding a horse back to this just desolate looking little farmhouse.
Right.
There's some tractors in the front. It's just kind of this like crappy looking farmhouse. And I always picture like this like twangy music
Yes.
playing
No, I do
for
too,
it. Just
yeah.
like this.
Yeah, like expect a Western type of sound.
Yeah, it's a Western. It's definitely a Western mixed with a post-apocalyptic vibe. That's what you're getting at.
Yes.
So
The music from Pirates of the Caribbean, Dead Man's Chest, where they're on the island and Davy Jones is in a bucket. That music.
yeah, there you go. It's called, the track is called Parlay, Rachel.
I thought people would understand.
Let's be a
If I
professional.
gave them the soundtrack, would they understand the part of the movie that we were in? No.
No.
Because only we would.
I mean, our most fervent lifers would understand it, but they have to be exactly like us. So we learn that Wolverine, no longer Wolverine, he is only Logan. Logan has a pig farm. It's in Sacramento, and he has a family. He's got a wife named Maureen. He has 2 kids, one of them named Scotty. I believe that is in tribute to Scott Summers.
I would
his longtime
imagine.
frenemy, Cyclops, another X-Man. And Scotty's telling him that the tractor broke down again, Paul. It's kind of
I'm
weird that
surprised.
they all have...
I was gonna say, I thought the exact same thing. Why do they have such a twang? Why?
Well, I mean, because it's a Western.
But Logan
and I mean-
doesn't.
Logan has a little bit of twang. He says ain't and bub and...
Yeah, but it's not like so deep
Yeah, but
south.
his kids definitely have a twang.
Yeah.
I don't even know if his wife necessarily has a twang, but his kids certainly do. They
Got it from the
have,
Hulklings, maybe.
Yeah, the Hulks. It's, all that Hulk media that's going around. So Logan owns this pig farm. It's struggling a bit because the pigs have gotten sick, and the people that he would normally sell the pigs or the meat to don't want to buy it. The tractor's broken. The rent is due in 2 days, and they don't have the money. And they don't have the money for the first time in 20 years. And Logan's wife, Maureen, is like, what are we going to do, Logan? And Logan's like, I'll think of something. And it's hard to do a Logan voice. It's, if you want to picture it in your head, because my imitation is going to be poor throughout this episode, I'm still going to do it. You can't fucking stop me. It's my show. But it's Clint Eastwood or it's the 90s. I think it's more of the 90s version than it is like Wolverine and the X-Men or the Hugh Jackman voice.
Yes.
So
yeah,
I don't know, Rachel, maybe you want to...
for this, that is what I'm kind of picturing. I'm picturing, or I guess I'm picturing in my ears, because that's the only way I can say it.
Picturing in your ears.
Well, because I'm looking at the page and I'm listening to it myself. So it's like I'm hearing the 90s comic, or I'm sorry, the 90s TV show Wolverine mixed with Clint Eastwood, because he's kind of that gritty.
He looks like Clint Eastwood.
He looks like Clint Eastwood. So it's hard not to hear his voice when I see it. But he's playing Wolverine. It's weird, but I like it.
Yeah, in a different timeline, Clint Eastwood would have played Wolverine.
Yeah, I think he would.
This... Yeah.
The Western version of Wolverine, absolutely.
If the MCU came around in the 80s, Clint Eastwood would have been Wolverine.
Yeah.
Like, that's what it would have been.
Anyway.
So they're at supper, and they're talking about what they're going to do, and his wife thinks, like, maybe we should sell some of the toys, and Logan's like, I ain't selling the kids' toys. Mm-hmm. So it's turning into Jake the Snake, but he...
Well, yeah, because his daughter's sitting there on her Game Boy.
Yeah, and he's just like, I'll think of something. And he's outside, and the sunset's coming, and he's just kind of trying to think of what he's going to do, and he tells his wife maybe he can reason with them. Maybe he can reason with the landlords. And he's just kind of angry because not only can he not think of something, but his daughter mentioned that one of her friends said that he used to be a hero, and he hates the idea of there being superheroes. He says there's no such thing as superheroes, and he's just kind of, living with this kind of guilt. We don't really understand why.
It seems like there's some guilt behind his eyes there. Yes.
And all the rest of the superheroes are dead.
Right.
They've been killed.
So it could be like a survivor's guilt?
There? Yeah, exactly. Well, I definitely think another character that we'll be introduced to in a minute has survivor's guilt.
Oh, absolutely.
Sure.
Yes. Post-traumatic, especially. Maybe even, I think that he probably has some PTSD.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Both of them, actually, probably. And Logan reveals that the landlords are Bruce Banner's grandchildren, and
that sounds weird, though. Because it's like, wow, he's going to try to reason with these people, and they're Bruce Banner's grandchildren?
Well, his wife's trying to give him, like, a little bit of, like, maybe we can reason with them. We haven't missed a payment in 20 years. Mm-hmm. Maybe they'll be okay with it. And he's just like, they're Bruce Banner's grandkids. Like, they're not going to be reasoned with.
But that's what I'm saying. Doesn't that sound odd? Like, it sounds weird reading this, but we know Bruce. We know Bruce Banner. Why would his kids be unreasonable?
Well, yeah, that's true. Yeah,
the Hulk was a hero, right? So, I mean, like, that's the whole idea.
Yeah, it's entering you, it's getting you ready for this world. This is not your Marvel universe.
And that's why it's you're kind of like, what's happening? What's happening right now? That they are landlords. And they are unreasonable. So something like this truly is something like, right, a crappy desert farm, exactly.
So the next day, or not the next day, 2 days later, I guess, but whatever. Like later, the Hulks show up to collect their rent, and
now you kind of get the idea of why they seem unreasonable.
Well, they show up in the Fantasticar. We don't have to get too in-depth with the Fantasticar, but the Fantasticar is a relic from old comic books. It is the Fantastic Four's weird floating car thing that could also fly, and it has like 4 different pods for each member of the Fantastic Four, but clearly, like, the Hulks have done something that they're now in possession of this, and it's got graffiti on it, and they're just these hillbilly-looking... One of them looks like a punk, but they're like hillbilly Hulks.
Right.
And there's a reason for that, which we find out later, and we'll talk about it in a minute. But they're just 3 hillbilly-looking Hulks, and they call him Wolverine.
I guess to give like an idea of what I'm like looking at, and for like horror buffs out there, think hills have eyes, like.
Yeah,
like kind of creepy hillbilly.
They're green. They look like the Hulk, but yeah, they have Hulk-looking physiques. They're green, they're big, they're muscular.
Yeah.
But they're also look like hillbillies.
Yes. Yeah. Okay.
So they're talking about how like they realize he's like, you can call me Logan, and then we know that you don't have your rent. So he instead of it just being the one lady who's got a baby sucking on her boob. Well,
yeah, she was also on the cover, by the way. Yeah.
Oh yeah, that is on the cover. So she must be the one that comes to collect from Logan, but she brought two of her brothers with this time, knowing that they didn't have rent, and they thought that things might turn bad, but she's like, he isn't gonna do anything. So they try to intimidate him a little bit. They're like poking at him and shouting at him, and we get a fantasy sequence.
Yes.
It's in Logan's head, where Logan pops his claws and slashes the shit out of one of the Hulks.
Oh yeah, just
and it's our
annihilate
first hint of the amount of ultraviolence that we're going to get in this book, because you see like just blood and guts just coming out of this Hulk, and it flashes right back, and Logan just says, he's just got his head down. He's like, no, you do whatever you want to me. And they just beat the crap out of him.
Yep.
And they just pummel him into the dirt, and they like smash his head until Logan's son comes out, and he's got a shotgun with him.
Right.
And they're kind of like, look, clearly you're not going to do anything. We're fucking Hulks. Like, you're not going to get away with doing anything.
Right, exactly.
So instead they just kind of tell him like, hey, that was your beating. Next month, double the rent, or we kill everybody.
Yep.
And they take off.
Do we know the daughter's name?
Let's see. I've got the book in front of me, so I can look to find the...
Because we know it's Scotty, and she's, Maureen?
No, Maureen's his wife.
Yeah, so it's Scotty and
it's...
the wife's Maureen, but what's the daughter's name?
I don't know. I think we find out at some point, maybe.
Okay.
Jade.
Jade.
Her name's Jade.
Okay. Jade. Is that supposed to be after somebody?
I don't think so. It didn't strike... Like if it was Jean, it would have been obvious. But I don't know if Jade is really named after anybody. So Rachel, I think we should talk about why the Hulks are hillbillies. Let's just get it out of the way right now.
I mean, I guess we can. It's not like a huge spoiler or anything.
We don't. It's just not revealed until like the last few pages of the book. But
right.
Let's just talk about it now. Because if you're sitting at home and you're wondering, well, why is Bruce Banner has grandchildren and they're hillbillies, and you keep saying like there's a reason for it. Rachel, do you want me to explain the reason for it, or do you want to explain the reason for it?
I guess that's up to you. Who do you want to say this out loud? Ugh.
I'll let you take the bullet on this one. I'll talk about the next weird thing in the book.
Bruce, he says the only person he could possibly mate with is his cousin She-Hulk. I think that's all I really have to say. No, I mean but that's exactly what happens. He kind of gets poisoned from the radiation. And it
like
messes
crazy.
with, and it kind of makes him go crazy.
Because the Hulk is the Hulk because of gamma radiation.
Absolutely, yeah. And so he goes crazy and goes, well, the only thing I can get with is another Hulk like me, and ends up making Hulklings, as they are called. With
Not the literal Hulk.
No, with
we'll learn about him
with his cousin She-Hulk. So. Mm-hmm. And they end up having a lot of children, or is it like they're all interspecies, like not interspecies, incestuous?
I think the whole thing. So
because it was only 50 years, right?
Right. So the whole thing is like, okay, cousins breeding is hillbillies. That's the joke. And that's what I mean by like, okay,
where it's kind of
Millar.
like tongue in cheek.
Because there's a we'll get to a phrase later in the book too. He even says like it contradicts the need for She-Hulk to have been the one to do this. But like, okay, Hulk wants babies. He's gone insane because the villains have taken over the world, and he was going insane anyway. So like, okay, She-Hulk is the one to have kids with. But I think you're right. I think the idea is that then those kids are all interbred. So they're just a bunch of inbred hillbillies.
Right. I think that's what it is.
Yeah. And I'm guessing I'm just gonna guess. This is also not consensual. I am gonna go out on a limb
maybe
and say She-Hulk did not volunteer for this.
I really don't think she did. I mean, unless she also went batshit crazy.
It's possible, but that's never been like part of the She-Hulk lore. The idea for the folks that aren't very familiar with She-Hulk, because she is not a character as of this recording in the MCU yet, so there might not be as many that know She-Hulk, but she needed a blood transfusion. Bruce Banner was there. The only thing he could do was give her his blood, so now she has Hulk strength. So there you go. But now she's She-Hulk.
And if you're saying it that way, I don't know if she would have gone as crazy as quickly as he did then.
I agree.
So I think you're right, and she's also she's not here. She's not in this book.
She is not here. She's not in this book.
So we don't know what happened to her at all. But we know that she had children with Bruce. Oof.
Yes.
Oof. Okay.
It is the worst part of this book. It's gross. It's so unnecessary.
Yeah.
Like, they could just be hillbillies because Bruce went crazy and he doesn't educate. Like, they're just
uneducated. Yeah.
Or they could be, inbred some other way. Like Bruce had, I don't know.
It was very specified. And then it was also said that they were inbred. I mean, they're inbred. You just, I guess if you think about it this way, they're all green. They almost have Hulk strength. So, or they're, we'll get into it later. There's actually other stuff that I'm thinking also happens, and we can get into it later. But I do think that they go to brothels and, they also have their children. So I think you're right. I think it's all, non-consensual breeding. Yes.
Yeah. So let's.
God, those
now
girls
that that's out of the way.
Good God.
Are you still listening out there?
Did we scare you away? But I think I'm scared away.
That's what I mean by Mark Millar's writing. So if anybody wants to throw that part of the book out of their headcanon, feel free to do so now. So
I mean, the characters need to stay, but still.
Later that night, Hawkeye shows up. Hawkeye is Clint Barton. He's an old Avenger. He's the heart and soul of the Avengers in the comics, and they try to do that a little bit in the movies. But the whole idea is that he has no real superpowers. He's just a really fucking good shot.
Oh yeah, he's a marksman. Arrow. Absolutely.
So because he doesn't have any actual superpowers, he's just really skilled, and he's still trying to save the world. He is what it means to be an Avenger. But he is still around after all this, and he is blind.
Which is, and I guess the whole idea with that is it's ironic.
Yeah, it's ironic because he is
the Hawkeye. Yeah.
But yeah, now he's blind. I don't know exactly who he is supposed to look like, but he's an old blind man, so he's got the blind man sunglasses on, and he kind of looks like a rock star. Ponytail.
Yeah, he kind of looks like an old rock star, or not rock, but what's his name? Who's the singer monk?
Like a Willie Nelson.
Yeah, thank you, Willie Nelson. Why did I thought of monk?
Yeah, he does look a little like Willie Nelson.
I had to think of somebody. But he does look like Willie Nelson, because I don't know, maybe it's the hair and the beard, but that's kind of what he reminds me of.
Yeah, a little bit. But he comes over because I guess he lives nearby, or he's still kind of known as this. He has the reputation. He's a smuggler. He's he's a guy that drives cross country. He delivers stuff to people. And Logan is in bed because even though he has this healing power, and it used to be super good, because he's aged now and because it was the Hulk speeding him up, he's just not, it takes
slower
longer for him to recover now.
Right.
Yeah.
Plus, I wonder if it's just because he doesn't use it as often.
Sure, yeah.
I wonder if that's probably something, too.
And Hawkeye and him are having this conversation about, Hawkeye is always constantly throughout this entire book bringing up the idea that, man, if there was only something we could do, if there was only something that, we could bring the world back. And he says it all the time.
All the time.
That's what Logan thinks he's there for, is to fight back. Mm-hmm. And Hawkeye's like, what the hell good would that be? There's nothing to fight back for. The world's shit. Mm-hmm. It's all went to hell. What's the difference? So he's like, I have a business proposition for you instead. So He offers him, he has a package that he needs to deliver to the East Coast within the next 2 weeks, but he can't drive himself there. And it's not that he can't drive himself there because he can't drive. He can't drive himself there because he needs somebody to navigate him with the GPS.
Right.
Which I do love that in this future post-apocalypse, we still have GPS. Like, the GPS still works. Don't worry about
some
it.
of the villains, I mean, are technologically savvy, so why wouldn't they want to keep that stuff around?
So you think they want to keep up the GPS?
Yeah, why
They
not?
still have to figure out how to get to, to Wendy's. Where's the nearest Wendy's?
Yes, obviously.
I think the Hulks definitely are eating at Wendy's. There's a Wendy's in this town.
The Hulks would be eating at Burger King.
Oh, you think Burger King?
Yeah. Yeah, broil that shit.
There's an off-menu item at Taco Bell called the Hulk.
Wait, is there really?
Yeah.
What is it?
I think it's a burrito. It's like a big burrito with like avocado in it, I think, or guacamole.
Interesting.
Try it out, folks. Go to your local Taco Bell and see if you get a Hulk. They're not a real sponsor.
I'm gonna have to ask them now. Yeah. And they get well, obviously you get Mountain Dew because it's green, right?
Oh, and you know that the Hulk's piss has to be gross. And Mountain Dew.
Oh, there you go. You can get Hulk piss for your drink.
I think the Kingpin might have a GPS system. I could see the Kingpin has some Starbucks, maybe.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
I don't think the president has any fast food restaurants.
No, not that I can think
Schnitzel?
of. Maybe a Popeyes.
A Popeye?
No, I'm just kidding. I don't know. I can't think of anything.
So anyway, I mean, I don't know what else you use it. You use a GPS to get around places. Like, you don't just go find like restaurants and stuff. But I don't know. Like, what do you need to find on a GPS? I guess because everyone is so far apart. Like,
yeah, I think that's what it is.
Farm, like maybe the Logan
there
farm
you go.
pops up on your GPS.
Maybe just like as we find out like later, like he has a map, so I think all of those main cities and towns would be on the GPS.
Oh, definitely.
So I think that's kind of the idea.
Maybe it's an opt-in and Logan or it's an opt-out and Logan forgot to opt out of the GPS.
Oh,
and he's just like, fine, they can find where I am.
I don't care. Keep me on the map.
So anyway, he offers him $500 to navigate him across the country, which apparently is a ton of rent. I have no idea how the post-apocalypse, the currency went really low, so now it's like a Western again, where it's like you throw the shingle down on the table and that's rent for the week.
Is it a shingle or a shilling?
In the West, it was like a shilling is
that
UK.
Oh, okay.
So it's like a.
I guess that's true.
A buffalo nickel. I don't know.
I don't know. I don't know what you.
A
pence?
glint of gold.
No, a pence is
Yeah,
all. I don't know. That's also English.
Why
can't I think of anything that would make sense?
That's also not right.
I don't know. I mean, like it's probably just enough that he has money plus that 500 to give the rent. You know, maybe he just needs a little bit more to give.
Right, or maybe that's like a few months worth of rent or something. Like, who knows?
Sure. And he has his pigs still. Once his pigs are healthy, he'll start, selling
Pigs
things
will be
again.
fine.
Yeah. Just need a vet.
But Logan decides to accept the offer, and you can tell in this that Hawkeye, and he thinks this for most of the book, that like Logan is full of it. He thinks that Wolverine is still in him. Mm-hmm. He's just playing this up for his wife and kids. Like he doesn't really buy into the fact that Logan's a pacifist.
Well, I feel like that's, you were saying before, Hawkeye's the heart of the team. Well, I think that's kind of the thing. He still has like that light, that heart, that hope, like sitting inside of him. And part of that hope is that Wolverine is still there.
Yeah. Yeah, because he does want to hope that... Because Logan would be the best superhero alive.
Absolutely.
Or the only one left, really.
Yes.
If he came back.
Yeah, if he had decided to do something, that's kind of what Hawkeye's thinking is, if I can get Wolverine, then maybe.
The next morning, Logan is saying goodbye to the wife and kids, and they're all, doing hugs goodbye, and the whole, you're the man of the house, look after your mother, and that kind of stuff. And Hawkeye's just like, oh, please. Are you kidding me? Like, if Sabretooth saw you now, he's just, you gotta be kidding. Now we have to talk about, so Hawkeye is driving the car, and we have to talk about...
Yeah, the car.
Look, we talked about the incest.
We talked about the Fantastic Four mobile.
Look, I don't know how to say this, folks, but I guess I'll just say this because this is really awkward. But they're driving the Spider-Mobile. And,
yes, they are.
So the Spider-Mobile is this ridiculous thing that was made in the 1970s. I think it was very short-lived. Even Logan is like, the Spider-Mobile? Like, what the hell? So the idea is that it's this very short-lived thing that I assume was a toy that they wanted to sell.
Right.
Which Johnny Storm of the Fantastic Four, he's buddies with Spider-Man, and he made him the Spider Buggy. And it's just this Jeep that can climb walls.
Can do whatever a
has,
spider can.
That's right. It does whatever a spider can. Thank you. So they're driving the Spider Buggy. But it looks like a Jeep, and it's got, like, Spider-Man's colors. And, and it has some, like, tactical defense system stuff, and it can climb walls and things like that. So,
it does kind of work for the idea. But I think the whole, another shtick thing is that all of this superhero paraphernalia is just everywhere. Like, all of their items, all of their stuff is just been,
it's like being sold on
pushed
the black
around.
market.
Yeah.
It's all over the place. Which would be cool. Like, if you needed to live in this world, at least maybe you could get, like, you know, I don't know, Wiccan's cape or something like that.
There you go.
Maybe you could find, like, maybe you could get one of an Iron Fist bandana.
Oh, there you go.
Like, I bet that's going, you know, pretty high.
Still has, like, blood stains.
You know, I'll say this as a fan of the MCU. As a fan of comic books, the fact that there's nothing obscure anymore, everything is now a TV show or a movie. Like, there's no reference I can make that is too obscure.
Oh, man, that's weird.
So then we get a shot of the path. It's a map of the United States, and you get kind of an idea of what the path is that they're taking. So they're in Hulkland. So the U.S. has been divided up into, like, 5 or 6 different territories, and each one of the villains claims, like, a territory for themselves and is, like, the landlord of that territory.
Right.
So they live in Sacramento, but that's in Hulkland, formerly the Abomination's territory.
Right.
So the Abomination was one of the Hulk's villains. He's just a big evil Hulk. But now the Hulk took over.
I wonder if that was one of the reasons the Hulk had a bunch of children, was to take it over from the Abomination.
You think he, like,
he made, like, a Hulk army?
This?
Yes.
Okay. I mean, that's possible. We don't find that out.
No,
like, how the Hulk took over from the Abomination. And that's, like, Washington. It's the West Coast. It's Washington, it's Oregon, it's California.
Right.
And then the Kingdom of the Kingpin is, like, your Rocky Mountain territories. And that was formerly the domain of Magneto. Yep. So the Kingpin took over from Magneto. And then you got the Plain States, and there's different cities along the way that they're going to hit. There's different things that, like, aren't necessarily cities right now. There's, like, the Negative Zone opening, the Cree Haven, Electroville, but it doesn't say anybody owns those states.
Right. It's kind of like no man's land.
Yeah, it is. A lot of this role is no man's land.
I think we'll probably hear more about that later on.
And then Doom's Lair, so that's Dr. Doom, one of the best or most famous Marvel villains, of course. I mean, all of these guys are famous Marvel villains. I was going to
say, yeah.
Magneto is probably actually the best Marvel villain, but that's Dr. Doom's, and that's kind of the Midwest. It's like Minnesota, Wisconsin, Iowa, Illinois.
Down to Louisiana.
And there's like all the way down to Louisiana. Kentucky, Tennessee are part of it. And there's a mutant forbidden quarters in there as well, so we'll find out what that means. And then there's like little smaller territory. I kind of wonder if this is Osborn's territory.
Ooh, that's a good.
Because there is Osborn City, which looks like it's like Columbus almost.
Right.
But it's like it's just Michigan, Ohio, Pennsylvania ish, and that's it. It's just this like smaller territory.
Yeah, I bet that's his now. Yeah, or at least it was at one point.
At least it was, but like it doesn't have like a title.
No.
And then there's the East Coast, which is the President's Quarters, and it's from Maine to Florida. The whole East Coast is called the President's Quarters.
Right.
And DC is now called New Babylon.
Yep.
So we'll compare this map to the map of the districts in the Hunger Games and anything else that comes up from the U.S. Yeah, definitely. So 1 mile down, 3,000 to go, and that is the way they end the first chapter of Old Man Logan. So the beginning of chapter 2, they're driving through Northern California, and it looks a lot like.
You gotta remember the artists, Kevin.
Go ahead.
I mean, this one's kind of cool though too. So you have like the one I'm looking at, which I assume is like the main one that they chose, is Logan and Hawkeye looking into a pit that has Scott, Ms. Marvel, Daredevil, The Thing, Spider-Man, Captain America, and Thor. It looks like they're like just gross bodies that are decaying in the sun. I just find it kind of fascinating to look at. And then actually Thor's hammer is like pushed into the ground as well. So
fascinating.
Well, I want to give credit where it's due. I think it's actually a very good setup of the way it's laid out. I think it's really nice. It's kind of depressing. All right, go on.
So they start by driving through Northern California, and it looks very Mad Max-y. Like, there's no roads. There's just a bunch of people, like, on motorbikes and scooters and cars.
I was going to say, this guy is on, like, what is...
Rascal?
Yeah, Rascal.
It's if the coronavirus would have gone the other way, this is what everything would have looked like.
Absolutely, yeah.
If we wouldn't have found that... If we wouldn't have found a vaccine, this is how we all would have been traveling. And Logan just looks kind of pissed off. He's just like, he doesn't want to listen. Hawkeye just won't shut the hell up. Like, he just keeps calling him Wolverine and like stuff like that. And he just like, just shut up and drive. Like, that's just kind of the idea. Hawkeye being Hawkeye just kind of leads them right off a cliff. And he's just like, just relax. Hawkeye's just really, relaxed about it. And they fall off a cliff, but this is where you get to find out, like, it's the spider buggy. It's fine. Like, it just kind of lands and bounces because it's got these big wheels on it. And so, like, they're just kind of driving through California.
Amazing shock absorbers there for that car.
Yes. Johnny Storm, only the best for his pal Spidey. So they end up in San Francisco. So the first stop is in San Francisco, and it looks deserted. And by the way that Logan talks about it, he doesn't think it should be deserted. And he also kind of asks Hawkeye, like, is it drugs back there? Like, are we smuggling drugs? And he's like, don't ask about it. Don't worry about it. And Hawkeye does get a little upset here because he's like, I don't need to be reminded of what I've become. Like, I used to be a hero.
Right. You
don't have to remind me that I'm a smuggler.
How far he's fallen, type of thing.
But Logan's like, there's nobody here. Why is it so deserted? They're in the middle of Union Square. They should have people. What's going on? And
that really shows how much Logan gets out.
Yeah, well, I mean, I think he probably has to travel to San Francisco every now and then. Like, that's probably like the main town.
Yeah. Maybe
he has to go to a conference. The Hulks call him in. He has to meet with a Hulk or two.
Yeah.
This is where we find out that there's moloids, I think is how you say it.
I think so. Like because they're moles. The
well, because they were found by the Mole Man, not Hans Mole Man.
Hans Mole Man. No, that's too big.
So the Marvel universe also has a Mole Man, and he looks like Hans Moleman, he lives underground. He's from the 1960s. He's the first Fantastic Four villain, and he had controlled a race of moloids, these things that like lived underground, and they're kind of implying that Mole Man's dead, so Mole Man no longer controls them. Like Mole Man died of old age or whatever. So they basically just do whatever they want. And Hawkeye like posits that maybe they're doing this because there's too many people and like they are trying to control the human population.
Oh yeah, they're cleansing.
Yeah. So they basically sunk San Francisco into the ground. So like San Francisco is like a newly minted wasteland. And Logan's like, well, let's see if we can find anybody, and he like determines that they're all dead. There's nothing that they can do, so they like decide that they're gonna leave. Mm-hmm. But before they can leave, the Ghost Riders appear.
You get a little taste of everything in this one. It feels like.
But that's why I think this is a good book for us to start with.
No, it is.
You get a little bit, a little taste, a little Easter egg of every corner of the Marvel universe. And
right.
And Ghost Rider, for the uninitiated, is a character that sells his soul to the devil in order to save. I can't remember who he's trying to save. I think it's his dad, but he's trying to save someone. So he sells his soul. He becomes the Ghost Rider,
who has to take souls back to hell.
And he's the spirit of vengeance. And there's a few different Ghost Riders, and in reality, it's supposed to just be like it floats with the person. I can't tell if it floats with the car, but you get the 3 different kinds of Ghost Riders. Like there's different bikes that are the Ghost Riders, and they're just these punks that somehow gained the Ghost Rider power.
Yeah, it's a little different. Or I get maybe the devil's kind of like, do whatever the hell you want. I don't know. It's just like really weird to me.
But they're just this street gang. They've embraced the Punisher logo. They've all got the Punisher logo, either shirts or face paint. And they just decide that they're going to beat the crap out of Hawkeye. They're clearly just going to rob them. And Hawkeye's like, don't let them get to the cargo. So Logan basically takes the beating. He won't fight back. And they're like, why don't you fight back? Fight back. And they're just beating the piss out of him. They're hitting him with clubs with nails on it. And chains. They're throwing stuff into him. They're just going crazy. And they kind of leave him there. And Hawkeye they hit him once.
Well, and they go to steal. I think they know he's a blind old man, too. So it's kind of like, well, we can just grab his stuff and leave.
Right. So they go to steal the cargo. Before they can steal anything, Hawkeye shoots an arrow through the one guy's head, going from the back of his head through his nose. And it's a pretty gory shot. He decides, and then he kills the rest of them. He just shoots. I do like his
line though. That's right, bitches. Just keep making noises. Well, I mean, it's good because think about it. That is how he's doing it. He's going, okay, well, there's the sound. That's where my arrow goes. So it kind of tells us he could still be a marksman. He just has to hear them. So maybe his ears are even better now.
That's true. Yeah, maybe his ears are better. And in the real Marvel universe, Hawkeye was starting to go deaf. He had a deteriorating ear problem. So maybe that's just out of continuity in this particular book. Because or maybe he solved it with some Stark tech or something like that.
Sure. Otherwise, it would be a little bit more difficult considering he would be blind and deaf.
I do love the aftermath of this. Logan is kind of mad at him for killing them, and Hawkeye's like, don't you start with me. I'm pissed off at you as it is.
Right, yeah.
And he's like, can't believe that you're actually a pacifist. I love that Logan's like, I've been telling you that since Sacramento. What are you talking about? I keep telling you that. And he's like, I didn't think that you meant it. I thought that you were faking it the whole time.
Yeah.
And he's like, what? How did you become this? And he's like, they broke me. They truly broke me.
Yep.
So now they reach Hammer Falls, and Hammer Falls is Las Vegas, and it's been renamed Hammer Falls. So they start traveling through, and this is where Hawkeye explains it a little bit of where I think he has a little bit of that survivor's guilt.
Yes.
It's interesting because he feels like it was an insult that they didn't come after him, the villains, because they were like, what's he going to do? He's Hawkeye. So he's a little embarrassed.
Because they didn't target him right away.
Yeah. So they didn't find him to be a priority to take down. And he, I think, feels survivor's guilt because he wanted to go out with his brothers in arms. He feels like, why me? Why did they leave me alone? I should have been there with the Avengers.
I should have been fighting with them.
I should have been fighting with them. So it's an interesting wrinkle where it's like he wishes he could have gone out in that blaze of glory, and now he's just this withering old man in this shithole, basically.
Right.
So you see them going through Hammer Falls, which is Las Vegas, and it's the place where the Absorbing Man and Magneto finished off our Great White Hope. And I don't know what that means, but I'm assuming that means Thor, because it's Hammer Falls. And he's like, I haven't been here in 50 years. And what they've basically turned Vegas into is a giant tourist attraction. So it's where people from across the country come to buy trinkets for superheroes. It's Disneyland or Islands of Adventure.
Well, I don't know if I would call it so much that it's Disneyland or Islands of Adventure.
It's a permanent Comic-Con.
It's a tourist spot, absolutely. But I think it's more of a place to pray and worship than go on some rides.
Oh yeah, no. It's basically a mecca.
Yeah.
Because we find out and we even see like Mjolnir, Thor's hammer, is stuck in the ground.
Right.
Because that's where, it fell. That's where he died.
it fell.
And there's just a bunch of people just praying to it. Because all these people come here to pray for the superhero's return. Like, they've become this... They're the hope, right? Like, they're the only thing that these people have left, is that the superheroes will come back.
Right.
Because...
they do. Right. That they usually come back, and they haven't in over 50 years.
Right. They always rise from the dead. How come they didn't do it this time?
Exactly.
But it is. It really is just like a permanent Comic-Con. There's just shit all over the place that you can buy. I'm sure it's all overpriced. Maybe one day Rachel will take a trip.
They do have a Captain America shield, I see.
They do.
Right there, yeah.
I wonder, I don't know if it's as... I mean, it looks a little cracked, and one day we'll tell the story of me having to get my Captain America shield.
Yep.
You would have said don't get that one, though.
No, I think I would have said, yeah, it's cheap. They probably painted it weird and stuff, yeah.
We can find a better one. We'll
go to the next booth. It'll be fine.
Maybe, yeah, there's another booth. We'll just go to the next booth and we'll see who's selling another one. Oh, that one got one signed? Well, I don't want it signed.
No, we don't want it signed.
It's signed by Bucky Barnes. I want it if it's gonna be signed. It's Steve Rogers, right?
Right.
I mean, I'll take Sam Wilson, but
absolutely.
Bucky.
Well, I like Bucky. What's wrong with Bucky?
No, I love Bucky.
I mean, I'll take his arm. They seem to have his arm over there.
If they've got his arm, if you
and
go
his
to
mask.
Hammer Falls,
hold on a second.
If you go to Hammer Falls, folks at home, if you go to Hammer Falls and they have the Bucky arm, get us the Bucky arm, P.O. Box it to Shelf Life. We'll take the arm.
Absolutely.
I don't think that you can probably bring the hammer back from Hammer Falls, but they do have replica
Unless
hammers.
You're worthy, I doubt you're going to be able to pick that thing up.
And we answer our question because on one of the panels, there are Thor hammers that you can grab. There's also a shot where there's clearly a McDonald's.
Is there really?
Now, I don't know if it's a working McDonald's, but the arches are there still. So even in the post-apocalypse, Las Vegas has a McDonald's.
Oh my god, you're right. Oh, that's funny. And it's called Heroes for Hope. And yeah, there's a... Yeah.
I mean, they even say, Hawkeye says, like, we're just passing through for a Coke and fries.
Right.
They're just there
they are going to
like,
McDonald's.
Get lunch. Yeah,
they are going to McDonald's.
But before they can pass through, they're stopped by Ultron 8. Ultron 8 has apparently become a domestic, just run-of-the-mill guy.
Oh, you hate Vision.
Ultron.
Never mind, you hate Vision.
I hate Vision. I'm not a fan of Vision, no. Ultron's good. I like Ultron. So
this
Ultron,
one's kind of goofy.
This is goofy. This is a goofy interpretation of Ultron. So Ultron is typically a villain of the Avengers he was made by Hank Pym in the comics, Tony Stark and Bruce Banner in the movies. But he's made by Hank Pym in the comics, and he was supposed to be like this shining beacon of what you could do with AI, but he turns on humans because he's like, all humans suck, so I'm going to kill all the humans.
Yeah, it's a very Doctor Who, they're inferior, so let's get rid of them, like the Cybermen type of thing. They must be upgraded, or if you want to go with the Daleks, delete. I'm sorry, go on, I'm sorry, going down a nerd trail. Well, I don't know. I don't know how wide variety of viewers may be into other things, and then if they need something to compare it to.
I understand. I understand. I've brought up professional wrestling. You're bringing up Doctor Who. It's fine. It's all fine. It's all fair game. If you're this far into Shelf Life, you know the score. So this version of Ultron is just kind of your run-of-the-mill. I pictured him with like Rick Moranis' voice or something. He's this domesticated stepdad.
Yeah.
We'll find out that he's a stepdad in a second. But he's got like a bag of groceries.
He's wearing a button-down shirt and khakis.
So he asks Hawkeye, because he stops them and he's like, Hawkeye, thank God you're here. Did you get the message from Tanya? And he's like, no, we came here to get lunch and keep going.
And leave.
And he's like, this really is the town where miracles happen. Like, he's just such, like...
Yeah, he is like that, isn't he? Oh, man.
So they're like, well, stop here, and you can come by Tanya's garage. Mm-hmm. And there's little bits, like, by the way, like, if you do pick up the book, I do recommend, like, looking at the artwork, because there's so much detail in some of these cells that we aren't going to go into, but, like, the Las Vegas streets, like, have a lot of detail behind them. A lot of the signs are, like, little Easter eggs, things and stuff like that. But anyway, they get to Tanya's garage. And what we end up here finding out is that Tanya is Hawkeye's third ex-wife. So Hawkeye has been married once officially in the Marvel continuity that this is based off of, so he's been married at least 2 more times in the last 50 years.
Right.
But what we find out is that
we also find out
Tanya is Peter Parker's youngest daughter.
Yeah.
So which explains how Hawkeye comes into possession of the spider buggy.
At least we think that's how.
Yeah, I assume that's how.
It's not. They tell. They tell.
And yeah, we do find out later how he does. But Tanya is a middle-aged black lady.
Yep.
Who is a mechanic, which
right.
again would make you think that
which
that's
actually
how he got
good. That's like a good spot though to be in. I think in this world.
Oh, definitely to be a mechanic in this type of
absolutely
world, for sure. What I can't figure out though is who the hell Tanya's mom is. Because if it's Peter Parker,
I was trying to figure that out
dad.
too. I guess it could be anybody at this point.
I mean, it could be anybody. I don't know. In Spectacular Spider-Man continuity, it could be Liz Allen, even though Liz Allen is Hispanic.
Oh, that's true.
In Spectacular Spider-Man, she's not black or Hispanic in the comics. So I was like, who in the Marvel universe or who in the Spider-Man world is Tanya's mom? Because I assume it's not Mary Jane because she has darker skin.
Well, yeah, Mary Jane is a ginger
redhead. Yeah, so
she's very white and very redheaded.
But in any event, she's Peter Parker's youngest daughter in this book, and she is ticked at Hawkeye because she's like, "Well, it happened. I told you what happened," and he's like, What happened?" And she's like, "Ashley and her friends went to go take down the Kingpin, and she's gonna get captured, and they're gonna execute her, and blah blah blah." And he's like, "You could have at least told her all of your drug running stories, but no, you had to tell her about how you were a big superhero and made her think that she could be a superhero. And Ultron's a better dad than you ever were." And it's this kind of, I just like, it's comical, like this little like family
It is a good
drama.
comical, family drama that you get to like have in this. A little bit of reprieve from like all the heaviness.
And there's a little fun little tidbit in here where Logan's petting a cat in this. It's a fun little detail in the cell that I like, that Logan's just petting this cat. Mm-hmm. Logan's like, "Who is this person? Who is Ashley? What are you talking about?" And he's like, "It's my daughter. It's our daughter, me and Tanya's daughter." And we get a cell shot of Ashley. She's in this jail cell. She's wearing a Spider-Man outfit. She's wearing it looks like the Spider-Girl outfit, kind of.
Right. Mm-hmm.
And she looks a little like the design is a little Rosario Dawson-y, kind of. But that's how we end chapter 2, is with the reveal that Hawkeye's daughter has been captured by the Kingpin.
Right.
So when we start chapter 3, and Rachel, I know you want to go with cover art, so go ahead.
Well, I mean, so like this one's a bit more simple. It looks like they're crashed into a building, I think. It looks like, at least. And Hawkeye has a giant sword, and Logan's just kind of hanging in the car. So, I mean, a very simple shot, but it looks like something's going down, at least. And Logan wants to stay out of it.
So we start up right back where we left off, and they were back in Tanya's garage in Hammer Falls, Las Vegas, and Hawkeye doesn't really think that Ashley would have done something like this. He's like, "I didn't really picture Ashley being like a superhero," Tanya's like, of course she would want to become a superhero. Her dad is Hawkeye. Her grandfather is Spider-Man. How, like, I don't know how that works, because, like, Hawkeye was older than Spider-Man.
Yeah. See, it's weird. Like, how old is Tanya?
That's what I'm saying.
The youngest daughter? How old are you?
Well, we don't know when
And when did Spider-Man die?
Well, I assume they killed Spider-Man off in the Holocaust.
Yeah, the 50 years ago, right?
Yeah, but we don't know when that 50 years ago was. We're assuming that 50 years ago was right after Civil War, whenever this book came out. But maybe it was 10 years after that, or 20 years after that. Like, we don't know exactly how much time passed between...
Well, I mean, I
Marvel
don't think Tanya is older than 55, 60, right? She can't.
Be, yeah.
She doesn't look.
I mean,
good,
Ashley looks like she's in her 20s.
That's what.
She's at least a teenager.
I know. It's confusing. It's confusing. I mean, that's why I'm confused. I don't know when Spider-Man died, because if this is supposed to be 50 years, probably from when he died.
No, I think they took out Spider-Man. Probably wouldn't have been the priority to take out, but he was definitely a priority to take out. Yeah. During that fight.
Oh, I doubt he lasted much longer after the fact, after that day, you know.
Oh yeah, maybe.
Because they would have been the next one. Freaking the Sinister Six probably just went right for him too, and then they probably brought in a bunch of other people too.
Well, what we end up finding out.
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
What we end up finding out is that they win. The villains win because they all organize and they kind of swap heroes.
Right.
Like, that's kind of how they figured out how to do it.
Yeah, so they probably had a different
So somebody else came after Spider-Man. I don't know.
But hey, the Sinister Six had the same idea. Let's work together.
Yeah.
So.
Well, the villains team up every once in a while.
Yeah, I know.
So yeah, Hawkeye's like, I can't believe that she did this. She was always more like just kind of a badass, like an evil badass. She never came off as like a do-gooder. So Tanya's like, are you gonna let her get executed by the Kingpin, or are you going to do something about this? And Hawkeye, I love the line of Hawkeye going, of course we're going to help her. I'm not a complete dirtbag. And Logan goes, speak for yourself.
Oh my God.
Because he doesn't mean I'm a dirtbag, but he's like, I'm not doing this. I didn't get into this just to go on one of your wacky adventures.
Yeah, I think he did mean he was a dirtbag, but that's, yeah, you know.
So Hawkeye says, I'll pay you double. All you need to do is read the map. I need to do this to save my daughter. Please come with me. Logan's like, all I got to do is read the map. And Hawkeye is like, yeah, Scout's honor. So he goes, okay, but remember, I'm not going to pop these claws. Right. And they're like, okay, well, we got to go because it's a 12-hour drive to get there. And Ultron hands Logan a X-Men keychain for luck.
Yep.
And Logan is kind of has like a little PTSD flashback.
Yes.
Again, from this, we see like some cells where like something's coming at him.
Something
and then
bright.
like,
yeah, you got like a bright light. Yeah. And then it looks like half of his face is like torn to pieces. His mask is ripped. It's very nice lighting. I like this with the coloring and everything. You get that contrast between the past and the right.
Present. That's like how they're showing you that it's a flashback. So they end up driving. They're just kind of having a discussion, and Hawkeye kind of says like, you know, I can't believe that she's calling herself a superhero, and I know that it's like crazy because it's basically a death sentence here, but he's like, I'm pretty proud. He's just so proud that his daughter's trying to be a superhero because like that's all. It's all
trying
Hawkeye's
to be a
got.
Hero in a villain's world.
Yeah, and even Logan has like a little bit of a smile on his face because like he understands that it does please Hawkeye that she's trying, but
right. It's that father thing.
Yeah. So they pass through some other town, and again, like the Moloids took down this town. There's this like guy stuck there, and Logan wants to help him, but Hawkeye's like, we got to keep going, man. So like they just kind of drive through this town. It's reminding you that there's this ever-present threat.
Yeah.
That isn't really the villains. It's just these Moloids, like just these things.
It's
these
just
creatures.
a constant danger.
So then we end up at...
They're like gremlins.
They're kind of gremlin-y, yeah. Except they take down the whole cities by sucking them down into the ground.
That's true.
So we end up at Rice Eccles Stadium, which I don't know if that's a reference to something or not. I didn't look it up. But it's Fisk Lake City. And so it's clearly in Salt Lake City, but it has been rebranded to Fisk Lake. Fisk is the kingpin, or the first kingpin. The original kingpin was Wilson Fisk. And the kingpin is referring to the kingpin of crime. So he's like the big bad of any of the street level heroes, like your Daredevils, your Luke Cages. He's Daredevil's primary foe, but then Spider-Man also mingles with him. But he has taken over this part of the country. And he is entertaining the people that live in his territory. These are the two other super friends that I assume that Ashley came with, which is a Punisher and a Daredevil. Or they're referred to as Punisher and Daredevil. They have them chained up in the middle of a stadium. And
by the way, Rice Eccles Stadium is a real place. It's an outdoor college football stadium in the western United States located at the campus of University of Utah.
Okay, so there you go. So it is an actual stadium. So at the University of Utah Stadium then. I thought maybe like they would have renamed it.
I thought so too, but they're just like, no, Rice Eccles Stadium and, University of Utah.
There's a Punisher and there's a Daredevil. I assume that these guys would have been similar to Hawkeye, where it's like, they're not priority. What the hell are what the hell are Punisher and Daredevil going to do? Mm-hmm. So I could see this being the real Punisher and Daredevil. And Punisher does have like a white mohawk, so it could be like an aged Punisher. I wasn't as sure about Daredevil because you can see his hair poking through the mask, but like they've been beaten, they've been bloodied, and now they're like chained by the neck in this stadium. Did you think that they were probably the original Hawkeye, or I keep saying Hawkeye, but Daredevil and Punisher too?
You didn't think they were? I thought they were. I figured that they were them. I guess like now, like looking at it that way, I mean, I guess they could have been either descendants or people picking up the uniform. I didn't even think of it that way.
I mean, I think it's probably more likely that that's Matt Murdock and Frank Castle.
I think it is.
Punisher, and they, of course, those two are never going to stop fighting. Like you just can't keep them from fighting. But then we meet the new Kingpin, and he's just sitting in a big lounge chair. So this is not Wilson Fisk. This is the new Kingpin. So it's just a guy that has assumed the title of Kingpin. But he kind of gives a little monologue about how he took over from Magneto. Rachel, do you remember how he says he was able to take over from Magneto?
Bitch got old.
That's right. Because Magneto was already an old man. He's a Holocaust survivor. So, I mean, he's not going to last that much longer.
Yeah, he was already old, technically speaking.
We'll get into more of Magneto in different books. He's one of the best characters in comic book history, in my opinion. One of the best villains, of course. But yeah, this Kingpin took over because bitch got old.
Bitch got old. I love it.
They want to know what they've done with Ashley, but he's like, I'm thinking about something nasty to do with her, but you're getting off pretty light. And then you get...
And then this frame right here.
Which is
two raptors.
Like Jurassic Park raptors come out of the light and eat Daredevil and Punisher.
Yep.
So then you get a few frames of the raptors
which for some reason is still surprising because they're like main character heroes and they're being eaten by raptors. Yes, by dinosaurs. And it's just like, I'm still surprised. You know, like, what? What just happened?
So a couple of things. One is, this is what most of this book is just Mark Millar thinking of like, that'd be fun if Steve drew that. And then putting it in the plot. And two, I don't want to tell the Kingpin how to run his entertainment sector of, Fisk Lake City or whatever. But wouldn't it be more entertaining to not have the Punisher and Daredevil chained up and fight the dinosaurs?
Yes. Put them in a pit with the dinosaurs. It would have been way more entertaining. It would have taken a lot longer than them just being eaten.
Yeah.
I mean, come on.
That's worth, the
Bear and the Maiden Fair.
$20 a ticket or whatever. Yeah, it's the bear and the maiden. Yeah, you throw the bear in the
the bear in the pit and let them fight it out.
This is basic gladiator entertainment. You put the lion in the pit with whoever you want to die.
Right.
The person will die, and you can kill him afterward even if he doesn't. But give a better show than that. Regardless of this, he still walks out and people are like cheering him and stuff. So I guess it's enough. But I'm just saying,
It's disappointing.
If Kingpin call us, we can arrange for some better entertainment. That's all I'm gonna say.
That would be our jobs in that world. We'll help you come up with a better entertainment way of doing things to kill others.
Maybe if you survived in this world, Rachel, I would have been dead 50 years ago. I probably would have. I would have shit my pants and killed myself, probably is what would have happened. Or I would have ran outside not knowing what to do, and I would have been like hit by like the fucking stilt man would have crushed me under his stilt or something. Like that's how I would have gone.
I think I could have worked for Dr. Doom. I think that could have worked.
Yeah. He's the most reasonable one.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking, right? He probably still has workers.
You know, maybe the Magneto regime, the Osborn.
Yeah. Oh, there you go.
I probably could have worked for Osborn.
You could have worked for Osborn. Yeah.
I could have been an Osborn lackey. Yeah, sure, boss. I agree. He would have eventually killed me. Like that's part of the game. But if you want to survive a little bit longer,
yeah, you got to work for the villain.
Because I don't even know how to start a pig farm. Or we're selling trinkets in Las Vegas.
I think I would highly avoid the Abomination / Hulk area myself, but that's just me.
Hey, you're protected. No one's gonna come in there and mess with the Hulk.
Yeah, but they're gonna mess with me. I don't know.
You know what the move would be? To just drive to Canada and see what happens.
Yes. Can I just, leave the U.S.? Is that an option? Get a boat? Something.
I don't know.
Yeah.
We don't find out what happened to the rest of the world in this.
We really don't. We really don't. Yeah.
Logan and Hawkeye are looking from like a distant building. They're on a roof of a different building, and Logan's kind of looking out, like watching the Kingpin like come out of the stadium and stuff like that. And Hawkeye explains that the people love him because he's one of them. Like, Magneto was a brutal ruler. They never go into details of this, but Magneto was brutal. And Kingpin, like, rose up. He was just a schmuck. And now he, like, rules the roost. So, like, that's why the people love him here. And
I mean, I guess we can kind of get an idea of how Magneto would rule something, because doesn't he have an area he does rule?
Genosha. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
But that was mutants. These are a bunch of filthy humans.
Yeah, they're humans. Yeah, he doesn't like humans. Yeah.
So, might not have worked out as well. So we find out that Ashley's been kept in a customized Walmart, which if you're going to make a prison out of something, make it a Walmart. And there's one cell that looks just like the Dark Knight. Like, Logan can pick up on, like, all these different security guards and all these bodies that are, like, guarding this place.
Yeah, that does look like the Dark Knight.
So Hawkeye's like, don't worry about it. I have a genius plan. We cut back and they're kind of taunting Ashley, and Ashley's just kind of got this like smug like smile on her face. Mm-hmm. We go back to Hawkeye and Logan, and I will give credit to the next few panels, because you feel the action. Like,
yep. There's movement.
There's a lot of movement in this. Like, you really do feel excited. So I'll try to like act excited here, because I won't do justice to the panels, but they're going across the side of a building, and they're just going faster and faster. And Hawkeye's like, you need to hit at least 200 miles an hour. And Logan's like, is the plan to just crash through the wall? And he's like, yes. So he's like, that is not a genius plan. And Hawkeye's like, if it works, it is. So they jump over one building, and they fly, and they crash through the wall of the other building. And Ashley's like, okay, that's Dad. And Logan just sits and pouts in the buggy.
Oh, yeah, he's
like,
pouting.
I'm not doing shit. He's definitely just pouting. So Hawkeye takes out a sword, and he's got the arrow, and he's like, it's fine, I'll take him. So he just starts slicing and dicing all of these goons that the Kingpin has, and he's just cutting and stabbing and stabbing and stabbing, and it's great. It's just brutal, ultra-violence action as he goes through all of these guys. And the best part is he walks into the next room, and Ashley's there, And he's like, where's the control panel? And Ashley says, 31 inches to the left of my voice.
Yep.
And Hawkeye's so good at it. He takes out the arrow and he's like, gotcha. And shoots the arrow through the guy's head, hits the control panel, breaks up everything. And then before anything else can happen, Kingpin kicks in the door and he's like, what the hell's going on here? Like, how did this happen?
And before anything else can happen, Ashley, with a gun, the butt of like a big shotgun. Oh yeah, like a shotgun, just takes off the Kingpin's head. It's beautiful.
Yeah. Decapitation by shotgun, and
the colors, and it's gorgeous. Yeah, it's great.
And she tells him, "You got old," knocks his head off. Before anything else can happen, Ashley whacks her dad with the gun. And he questions her, and she reveals that she came to take over for the Kingpin. She had no plans of being the hero. She was like, we just need to take over a territory for ourselves.
Yeah, so Hawkeye was right. She isn't doing it for the hero piece of it. She's doing it for the power.
Mm-hmm. And every character is covered in blood. There's crap all over the place from the fight. There's mercenaries are just like standing there because now they're like, well, I guess we'll just follow Ashley now.
They follow whoever's in power.
Yeah.
They follow the throne.
Yeah, they follow the throne. They're just mercenaries. They're just there to stay alive and have power.
Yep.
And she rears back because she's just going to kill her dad because she needs to prove that she's their new boss. You see Logan behind the wheel and he's just like, damn it, Hawkeye. And that's the end of the 3rd chapter.
It's a very exciting ending.
Rachel, the cover for chapter 4, if you wanted to discuss it at all.
Well, the nice part of this, I love the glow. So Logan is holding a glow stick, and there's all of the moloids seeming to crawl up, trying to attack him. But he's got like a green glow stick, and I really like how the lighting hits everything and kind of shades all of the features on everything. That's kind of all I have to say. I just want to like point out what it looks like. There's a lot of hard work put into each one of these, and definitely. That moloid's butt looks phenomenal.
It's a great butt.
It's a great
butt. It
butt.
really is. It's a hell of a butt. We go right back into the action, and Hawkeye is telling Ashley, like, you don't have to do this. And Ashley's like, I'm not doing this because I have to. I'm doing this because I want to. But before she can do anything, Logan drives the spider buggy through the wall, grabs Hawkeye by the arm, and goes through the other side of the building, and they shoot out, and then they shoot into another building. And he pulls Hawkeye back into the seat, and he's like, are you okay? And Hawkeye's like, no. which I mean, he's emotionally broken now, too.
Oh, yeah. One, he got hit, and two, just mentally and emotionally broken.
Yeah, he's emotionally hurt. And they're flying through this building, and they fly out, and they almost hit another security guard, and they fly out through the side of this other building, and they come down onto the street, and even Hawkeye's like, Jesus, Logan, what the hell are you doing? And Logan, of course, has to be like, nice kid you got there. And Hawkeye's like, just shut up and drive. And they drive out of the city. And it's so action-packed. These cells, you really feel them driving through this city. It's very good.
The speed and everything. Yes, the force. Mm-hmm.
And Ashley's looking out from the hole in the building that they left, and in pure like supervillain fashion, she just turns and is like, "Well, go on, get them."
She immediately takes on that role and is like, "Well, those are two heroes. Get rid of them."
Yeah. And the sky is a little, it's like dawn almost. Like the sky in these scenes is very nice. It's like a pinkish purple.
Yeah, it's actually
like a
really
different kind of
coloring.
atmosphere too.
Absolutely.
And as we should say, it's nothing but dirt so far. Like the landscape is just dirt and mountains.
Right. The coloring is coming from the sky, really. That's the only part that still has like that color.
Yeah, because there's nothing left. So Logan looks in the rearview mirror, and there's this Mad Max caravan behind him.
Oh, man.
There's just a bunch of cars. There's dinosaurs.
Yep.
There's just all this stuff that's, like, coming after them. But before they get hunted down, there's an earthquake, and the convoy and Hawkeye and this Logan and the spider buggy all fall into this pit in the earth. And Logan's like, make sure that you're belted in, quick. And we see them just falling and falling and falling and falling. So then a couple hours pass, and they're in the middle of this pit. So Logan turns on like a glow stick, like a light.
Yeah, I think he like
basically.
cracks the glow stick, yeah.
And Logan's calling out for Hawkeye, and he's like, where is he? Where is he? And he's like, it must have been the moloids, because it's been hinted at earlier in the book that this is what the moloids do.
Yep.
So he's trying to find Hawkeye, and he even does a Mother of God line.
Mm-hmm.
I know that sounded more Batman than Wolverine. It's pretty similar. But he he's like, get out of here, you sons of bitches, you moloids.
Right.
And Hawkeye's like, I'm right here. And he's trapped in the spider buggy, but because of the way he's trapped, the moloids can't get to him. And we see that the moloids have been eating all of the caravan that Ashley sent. And it's very creepy. It's a very horror movie-esque.
Really creepy.
Because they're just like stripping like the skin off of all these bodies, and they won't go to Logan because he's got the light in his hand. So like they are afraid of the light.
Well, I think it burns because they're underground creatures. So any light, either probably hurts their skin, it probably hurts their eyes because they're blind. Like they probably don't really see like normal people do. So I'm assuming it just hurts them to have that light.
Right, because they're used to darkness.
Right.
And Hawkeye's freaking out a little bit because he's like, they've been scratching at this thing for hours where they haven't been able to get in.
Well, think about it. Yeah, it's one of those mentalities. You're just hearing that over and over again for hours, and you're like, what do? I'm just stuck here. And he can't make a noise, or they're going to try to, get in even faster.
So they almost have to do like a little bit of a turn here because like Logan's been the one that's been like off put and doesn't care about this mission at all, and Hawkeye's been more of like the jokester. Mm-hmm. And in this situation, because Hawkeye doesn't have healing powers. Like, if the moloids eat him, they eat him. And he's dealing with the fact that Ashley betrayed him. So now you've got Logan, like, trying to, like, get the spider buggy out. And he's able to flip it over. And this is where you get that line that you liked, Rachel, where they're like, Hawkeye's like, how the hell are we going to get out of here? we can turn the headlights on and keep the moloids away from us, but how are we going to get out of here? And when Logan tells him what?
It does whatever a spider can. And he starts climbing the walls.
So now hit the road trip music, On the Road Again, or Country Roads, or whatever you want to turn on for yourself, because now we get a montage of them going town to town. The first place
But like, I think this explains something. And this is what I was getting at before. You were saying that huge, vast land that doesn't have a name. Well, it's because of the dinosaurs.
Oh, you think because...
I think it's because of the dinosaurs. That's where they've kind of like gone, and that's why nobody's there. Mm-hmm. So it's one of those things where like the dinosaurs took over.
So we find out that there's an area of the Marvel universe called the Savage Land, and it's this area in the South Pole it's almost like a Hollow Earth type deal. It's the tropics, and it never got extinct. The extinction event never hit it. Mm-hmm. So all the dinosaurs and there's stuff there from millions of years ago. So Hawkeye explains that the villains and black market dealers would go down, pick up... It's very Jurassic Parky. They'd pick up dinosaurs from the Savage Land, and they'd sell them as pets, like selling an exotic tiger. And then they would get unloaded because they were like, well, they're fun when they're little, and then they get too big, and then you can't, handle a big dinosaur, so you just dump it. So they're just all over the place, like Rachel said. Mm-hmm. So the first spot is Paste Pot Creek, Wyoming. Paste Pot is a Marvel character, I think. Paste Pot Pete, I think is. Look that one up.
I don't think I know that one. It is Paste Pot Pete. The hell? I have never heard of this.
Yeah, so that's definitely a Marvel Easter egg.
Huh.
So this is where they find out that they're not getting messed by with the dinosaurs because they've got some special anti-dinosaur spray. I don't know what that is, but that's
no
what they're
idea.
wearing.
It's like mosquito spray. You're fine. Don't worry about it.
Next is Electroville, and Logan sees like a building with like a guy underneath it, And Hawkeye's like, well, if it's the Baxter building, that's Loki. So we don't really find out, was Loki on the side of the heroes or the villains in
Right.
this?
Yeah, because
The
he does
Baxter building's
flip-flop a
on top
lot.
of him. He's dead. He died in that battle. So did
Yeah.
did the heroes kill him? Did the Fantastic Four kill him? Like, you don't really find out.
No. Or was he
And
trying to
then-
save the Fantastic Four and
Did he have a change
something
of
else
heart?
happened? Right. Yeah. There's a lot we don't know about the events.
Next is South Dakota, and Clint is contemplating what could have happened to Reed and Sue of the Fantastic Four, and we see the symbiote off in the distance, the Venom symbiote. So, not going to get into the backstory of the Venom symbiote, but it's a Spider-Man villain that is basically
an
this
alien.
alien goo.
Yeah.
That clings to things and takes kind of like control or shares the body with something.
It's a
else.
parasite.
Yeah, exactly.
It kind of takes over a little bit. Takes most control.
But Logan's like, well, maybe they'll come back and save the world. Like, he's saying it sarcastically. And Hawkeye's like, a little late for that, isn't it? Because like, the world's just garbage.
Yeah, and then we get a great shot
Go ahead.
of Mount Rushmore.
An additional Mount Rushmore,
Yep.
because it is the Red Skull. Has been carved in as the fifth head on Mount Rushmore.
Yep.
So, I mean, we recently had a president, at the very least, joke about putting himself on Mount Rushmore. So the Red Skull actually went ahead
Yeah,
and
I
did
kind
it.
of would have expected Mr. Garrison to be up there.
Oh, Mr. Garrison, for sure.
I
I'd
know, that's
put
what I'm
myself
saying.
on Mount Rushmore. Yeah, well, Mr. Garrison was our last president.
I know, that's what I'm saying.
Right. I don't know who else you thought I was talking about. And we all call him Mr. Garrison. We don't call him Herbert Garrison.
Oh, no, it's Mr. Garrison, yeah.
Yeah. They stopped to eat in Des Moines, Iowa, as you do. Why wouldn't you? At a bar called Millar's. So this is apparently Mark Millar's place. It looks like it's got a big slop silo in the back, but it's got a satellite dish. So they're eating, and Logan kind of reaches out to him. He's like, do you want to talk about Ashley? And he's like, I feel like I screwed up. Like, how did I allow her to turn out to be a villain? Like, how did this happen? Clint's like, well, at least you're acting a little more like yourself. And he's like, that's what I'm afraid of.
Right. And we kind of get a couple flashback panels as well.
Yeah. But then Logan basically starts breaking down. Like, he starts crying. Like, he's just like, I made this life for myself. I love my kids. I love my wife. I don't want to go back to being Wolverine.
Right.
So Hawkeye's like, it's fine. I think he realizes, like, okay, I'm just teasing you. I understand. And these roughnecks are kind of like basically calling him gay, I think is the idea here, right? They're like, well, excuse us, ladies.
I didn't realize that. Oh, that's funny that I completely missed
like
that
Hawkeye
joke.
like kind of hugs him. Because Hawkeye hugs him and he's like, it's
Right.
like, I'm sorry, man. Like, I don't mean it. I'm just teasing you.
Oh, excuse us, ladies. I didn't realize it was like, what, ladies' night? Is that what he was going to say?
Yeah,
I
something like
assume?
that.
Yeah.
And Logan flips out and he like puts his fist up against the guy's chin and he's like, go ahead, bub. Just try to make a joke. It's that very like, go ahead. It basically might say, go ahead, bub, make my day. Like, yeah, exactly.
Clint Eastwood again. I'm just saying.
So Hawkeye is like, Logan, stop. And Logan realizes that he storms out of the bar and he's all upset. And Hawkeye's like, what did they do to you? And Logan's like, fine, I'll tell you. And that's the end of chapter 4.
Yeah. It's kind of exciting because now we get to find out what actually went down. But I feel like he was literally having like a almost like a panic attack at that point and just like snapped. And it's just kind of like, it's just kind of sad because you know it's just that hard for him.
So chapter 5?
Chapter 5, we have on the cover, is that Sabretooth?
Yeah, Sabretooth,
So
Omega Red, Lady Deathstrike. It's
Okay.
Wolverine's main villain.
Yeah, and he's being like attacked and brought down, like he's overpowered at this point, and that's kind of actually I feel like that's a good way of saying it. He's overpowered, and that's kind of how he's feeling throughout this story. So that's what we start with here, and it's a good metaphor for what's going on.
So the story starts and we go into it of what happened to Wolverine 50 years ago. So we start off at the X Mansion and Logan's telling the story, and Jubilee is at the control monitor. And Jubilee is one of the young X-Men. It's one of the X-Men that Logan kind of takes under his wing.
Yeah.
It's almost like an uncle, niece, father,
or like
daughter,
a daughter
relationship. Yeah. And there's distress calls everywhere. And Jubilee's like, yeah, the Fantastic Four, the Avengers, everyone's S.H.I.E.L.D., everyone has a distress call. Like, what's going on? And Logan kind of senses something because he's got that smell. He's got like that sense. And he's like, we've got to get out of here.
That animal sense, yeah.
But before they can do anything, there's an explosion that occurs, blasts the wall. Wolverine kind of moves some stuff away, and Jubilee's dead. She's got like a piece of wood going through her head.
Oh, yeah, it's brutal.
And then a host of villains walk in. They're led by a Silver Samurai, who's one of Wolverine's old foes from Japan.
But then we have different villains together, as you were saying before.
Right. There's just a host of villains. And Wolverine, as he's wont to do, snicks out his claws and he starts going to town and he starts battling the villains. And they basically kind of taunt him with like, how long was it going to take? It was only a matter of time before somebody organized us. And you see the villains like busting through the rest of the X Mansion where all the X-Men live. And Wolverine starts
We're all
trying
like,
to
especially all the kids, absolutely.
Yeah, so they're going to go after the kids. Are they going to kill the kids? So then you see Kitty Pryde is there, and she's like, get out of the tunnel, like, evacuate. We've trained for this. In the meantime, Logan Wolverine is just chopping through these villains.
Oh, yeah, he's, like, annihilating them.
And he's shouting, Cyclops, Storm, the rest of the X-Men, where the hell is everybody? Like, why isn't everybody helping me?
Yes.
As he just goes off, and these two kids are there, and he's telling them, like, get out of here, where is everybody? And the kids are like, we don't know, the alarms went off and they vanished, they're missing, we don't know where they are. And he's like, well, just leave and don't look back. And it's just panel after panel after panel,
blood,
very
gore.
Detailed artwork of just Wolverine stabbing through all of these villains and just murdering them. Do you want to tell it?
It's violent, it's very gory, and by the end, yeah, he has who was his last one? He says that Bullseye was the last to die. And as he's killing him, you're supposed to be our friend comes out of his mouth.
Bullseye says, like, why are you doing this?
And it confuses him. And then what we see is that he killed, who's in his arms, not Bullseye, but Jubilee. And what we find out is that Mysterio is actually in the room, and he goes, thank you for doing the job for us. And then we get a whole, just like a whole page of all of the fallen X-Men.
Yeah, just slashed and bloody and dead everywhere, and Wolverine is just looking on in sheer horror because he killed his family, basically.
Yes.
And so Mysterio is a Spider-Man villain who is like the master of illusion. He's just like a stunt Hollywood illusionist, basically.
Right,
He makes
yes.
like tech, special effects and shit. But he figured out a way to make an illusion because the way that Spider-Man always takes down Mysterio is that he has spider sense. And he can
he's able to like sense through it.
Right, sense what's real and what's fake. Logan's sense it's biological. It's by smell. So Mysterio found a way to make them smell like the villains. Mm-hmm. So Logan had no idea that it was the villains, and it was like the perfect just switcheroo of like, well, we can't kill the X-Men. We'll have one of the X-Men do it for us, and it's
exactly
that's the tragic backstory of this. I do like that Mysterio is kind of like, did you really think that you just killed 30 villains
so quickly?
Like, how good do you really think you are that you were able to do that? So it cuts back after this, and you just see like this devastated Wolverine or devastated Logan. I had no idea. I didn't realize that I was doing it. And he tells that for the next hours, he's like, it could have been days, it could have been weeks. He has no idea. He just wandered through the woods, sobbing his eyes out, and just going and going and going. He had no idea that there was a battle in Vegas. He had no idea that there was a showdown that happened. He just wanted to die. But he can't kill himself. He heals no matter what happens to him. Mm-hmm. So he finds some train tracks and he gets in front of the train and he puts his head on the train tracks and waits for the train to come.
And ultimately he kills Wolverine.
Yeah, so like Hawkeye's like, well, that wouldn't have killed you. And he's like, no, but maybe it was enough. Maybe hurting was enough to kill the Wolverine. Mm-hmm. So that's why he's like, I killed the Wolverine. And that's why the claws will never come back. Very sad story.
Oh, it is. It's very heavy. It's very dark. It's kind of a tough one. Oh, very graphic. Yes, but I mean, it's kind of one of those things where it's like hard to imagine because he just brutally murders his entire family and friends.
But they decide they've got to keep going. But now at least Hawkeye understands why Logan won't do it. So the next stop they make is at Dwight's Toll, and it's just this little kid. This little kid that has found Ant-Man's helmet.
Yep.
So Ant-Man, one of the heroes, he has a helmet that controls ants or can at least kind of like guide ants to help him do what he wants.
Yep.
And Dwight makes you pay 80 cents to cross the river or he's going to sick some ants on him. So they pay the 80 cents. And even Logan's like, what the hell is this?
Yeah, like this is stupid.
And Hawkeye's like, it's worth it. Trust me. And it's because he can sick these ants to kill you if you won't pay his toll.
Oh yeah, they even show the pile of skeletons underneath the bridge.
Yeah, very very Mad Max World-ish to like have like that kind of thing.
To have a child be doing something like that.
So then they're in Doom's Head, Illinois. So they're getting closer. A little bit greener on the other side of the Mississippi River.
It is,
if you
yes.
noticed, just a little bit greener. Hawkeye kind of apologizes to him, like he didn't mean him. He wouldn't have made fun of him or anything, and if he wouldn't have said any, if he would have known. But before anything can happen further, the last shot of Chapter 5 is a T-Rex that has been assumed by the Venom symbiote.
Yep.
And it is chasing them down.
It's pretty cool looking.
Yeah, I'm not gonna lie. It's definitely, I think it'll be fun if Steve draws this. Like, that's where
yeah, it is. From. He's like, what else can I do with these dinosaurs?
And we get into Chapter 6.
Mm-hmm. Chapter 6's cover, we have what looks like a very, very angry Wolverine with smoking bullet holes just riddled in his face. That's about it. I mean, they're still smoking. The blood is very red. Everything else is very muted, so it sticks out very harshly against the page.
The start is the Venom T-Rex is chasing them down, and Hawkeye's like, what's going on? He's like, it's a T-Rex with Venom's face on it. And he's like...
Yeah, because all he can feel is the booming run of the T-Rex.
So Logan's like, fire on him, do something. So Hawkeye's firing on him, and we get this shot from somewhere else. It even says, like, elsewhere, and it's this blonde lady in all white, and a bunch of shrouded figures, and they're watching monitors. Mm-hmm. And the lady's like, and I'm going to do the affected accent of this character because I believe this is how she talks with a fake British accent. Like, if you Trinket, that's Hawkeye. I would recognize him anywhere. And they're both being, and that's Logan. And they're both being chased by that thing that always annoyed Spider-Man. Send Black Bolt. And Logan's like, did you get it? Did you get it? And Hawkeye's like, I'm blind. You tell me. So, like, as they're just trying to get away, this old man, dressed all in black, is just standing in their way. And Logan's like, what the hell? And, like...
And he tries not to hit him. Yeah.
Tries not to hit him, flips the spider buggy, and the old man just goes, stop. And
he just, like,
takes
whispers.
Out... Because Black Bolt is an Inhuman. He's the king of the Inhumans, or was. We don't know what happened to him here. And his... power is that he creates gigantic vibrations with his voice. So if he even does a whisper, he can like take out a city block. Mm-hmm. So he's really not supposed to talk. So they're like, what the hell's going on? What is this? And before they can do anything, they get transported to the Forbidden Quarter. And I'd like to think, Rachel, that the Forbidden Quarter is like this 1970s future looking
It
place.
does kind of do that, and she's even got a weird outfit that would make me think the same thing.
Because we're in this, it's basically like the land of the mutants. Mm-hmm. And we are greeted by Emma Frost. And Emma Frost is one of the X-Men, but she's always been like kind of a more morally ambiguous X-Man.
Yeah, really. Yes.
She's more self-driven than altruistic.
Right.
But we do learn some stuff. And her power is basically she's a telepath. She's a psychic.
Yes, she's a psychic.
So she's even saying, Logan's like, how do you still look like you? Because Emma's always looked like a buxom blonde. Like she's just supposed to be like a big smoke show. And you don't even know if she's really a smoke show because she even says it here. She's like, I'm making you look, you're seeing what I want you to see. Like, I don't look like this. Because she's 50 years old. I could be
a extraordinarily old woman. It doesn't matter.
So Hawkeye does not like Emma. Like, you could tell he is not a fan.
Right.
And he's like, you owe me $100 or $600 for that car. And this is where we find out how he got the spider buggy. Do you remember how he got it, Rach?
Playing cards with, who was it?
I think it's the Mandarin.
Oh,
and he was cheating.
And he was cheating at cards with the Mandarin. And that's how he got the spider buggy.
Emma,
which I think that's kind of in character. I kind of could see that.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. Because he's a smuggler. He's your Han Solo at this point. Yeah, so he's definitely. And Emma basically says, like, the technicians are going to fix the spider buggy. Don't worry about it. So they're, like, fixing them clothes. They're probably getting them something to eat. They're just kind of, like, hanging out. And Emma's explaining, this is the refuge for the mutants. And she's like, I don't even think that I think that we might just be a genetic anomaly. Like, there hasn't been another mutant born in 40 years. So, like, this is all we've got.
Right.
And Clint, being Clint, is like, oh, boo fucking who. He's mad at her because he made a deal to marry her husband, which they don't really ever name. And she's like, I did what I had to do to, like, save the mutants.
I think it's pretty obvious who her husband is.
On the next page it is. Because they're in Doom's lair. So I think she made a deal to marry Doom in exchange for Doom basically being like bringing in the mutants as refugees.
Right. Exactly.
Which, I mean, that's very in character with both Emma and Dr. Doom.
It really is. So that one worked out pretty well.
Like, Dr. Doom is full of himself and thinks if Dr. Doom could have sex with himself, he would. Like, if he could clone himself, that's what it would be. I got to the scene, and spoiler alert for season 2 of The Boys, but I got to that scene where Homelander, the guy's like, do you just want to have sex with yourself? Dr. Doom would be like, yeah, absolutely, because who else is going to live up to Doom? But in second place, Emma Frost... Yeah, why not? This busty blonde, like, exactly. Yeah, of course. And all I gotta do is let the mutants stay in. I assume this is like Chicago. It looks kind of like Chicago.
I think that's where they are. Yeah, I have a feeling it's his main area is Chicago. And I mean, like, what's the problem with that? He gets to, then they are under him. He still has control of people. He still has the power.
That's all he cares about. So that's all he cares about. Emma basically says she knows what's in the box. She knows what they're transporting. And Hawkeye... Well, and I
assume it's because of her psychic abilities.
Yeah, absolutely. Of course. Because she does not play by the Xavier rules of, like, only read people's minds when you need to. She doesn't give a fuck. She just does what she wants. Yep. And Hawkeye's like...
She might not have full control of that either. It might just come to her. She might... Sure. It's just like, it's just there. Yeah, I got it. Because I'm that powerful. I just get to have it.
Mm-hmm. And Hawkeye's like, well, keep your mouth shut, skank. Like, she calls her a skank.
It's awful.
And this is where they're bringing the spider buggy out so that they can be on their way. And Emma's like, did you finally find peace, Logan? And he's like, well, you're the mind reader. And she's like, then congratulations. She knows you did find peace.
You did. You found what you wanted.
And they leave, and we see Dr. Doom. So... I have another question about this, Rachel.
And he just lets them go. Yeah.
He lets them go. So, does he let them go one of three reasons I can think of. One, he also knows what's in the box. And if he also knows what's in the box, maybe he's like, I'm through with this villain shit, especially knowing like what Doctor Doom wants. I mean, Doctor Doom wants to rule the world.
I was gonna say, and he only has Chicago.
He has the Midwest. He has New Orleans. What else does he want?
I'm surprised he didn't, fight for that presidency.
I agree, but I think it's because it was somebody else's idea.
I know. We'll get more information on that, but
and then the second idea thing is, is he old and lazy, and he's just like, I can't do it anymore, and like, there they go.
Not even worth it.
Yeah,
because he might see them as just old too, and be like, it's not worth it.
Right. Or is the third option, he knows Emma would kill him?
I'm gonna go with number 3.
Well, because you know that if push comes to shove, the rest of the mutants are going to back Emma, not him.
Right. Well, I think that's also Hawkeye's point too. You have Black Bolt, and all he has to do is whisper.
Right.
So, I mean, I think that's kind of the idea as well. Emma had him, so I'm just gonna let them pass through because Emma wants that. Mm-hmm. I think that's what it is.
So they continue their driving. Logan asks him, what is it? And he's like, it's not... and Hawkeye won't tell him. He's like, it's not drugs? And he's like, I said, mind your damn business.
Right.
And they end up at Pim Falls, Connecticut. And he's like, okay, we're getting there. We're getting pretty close. And at this point, the weather has completely changed. So it's snowing. Mm-hmm. It's just a totally different like vibe. And it's called Pim, and they've got the roof on the Spire buggy up even. And it's called Pym Falls because we get a big 2-shot of Hank Pym, who was Ant-Man / Giant Man. His skeleton is just on the road. Which I guess
as Giant Man. No, it's not. Yeah, it's not like
as Giant
his
Man,
small body. It's as Giant Man. Yeah.
But there are trees and stuff. Like, it's winter, but there's like evergreens all over the place. So this part of the country is being upkept a bit.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, this is more kept together, I suppose.
I also
and that whether that's like nature just trying to keep hold of everything, or if it's them actually taking care of it.
So are we to believe that they just couldn't move Hank Pym's body because it's so big?
I'm gonna say that's yes.
Okay.
It would just stink though, right? It had to have smelled for years.
For years, unless
maybe they just moved part of the carcass and stuff, and maybe the bones are just way too heavy to move.
Well, because they even he's like on the highway, so there's a hole in his head that's like a tunnel.
Well, is it the head or is it just under his neck?
No, there's two. The one crosses under the neck, and the other one is in the head.
And the other one kind of goes through his like his hips, maybe.
Yeah,
it's goofy. It's a big. Oh yeah, there is a hole in his head. I see it now. Okay. At the top of his head. Okay.
Mm-hmm. So they finally entered New Babylon, and it's DC, but it's DC like built up almost to look kind of like New York. Mm-hmm. And it looks like an 80s dystopian city. Like, you can hear the synthesizer looking at this page. Again, a lot of detail in this page, but there's like a giant red skull statue, and he's holding all the Avengers in his hand.
Yes, and very big brother.
There's even a sign that says "Always watching you."
Right.
There's stormtroopers walking around everywhere.
Believe in the genius of the president. Work, family, hate, love with force. A lot of propaganda.
And the streets are super busy. There's like people walking around everywhere. And this is where Hawkeye does the he pulls a Roger the Alien, and he's like, Logan, I haven't been completely honest with you. And he tells him that this was not really a drug running thing. That was just a cover story.
Right.
And Logan's like, I swear to God, if you're ripping me off after all of this. And he's like, no, you'll get your money. Don't worry about it. And they park the buggy. You can tell that the city's kind of gross. Like, there's somebody soliciting a prostitute, I think.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure.
I can't really tell what's going on there, but something like that. But, like, there's drugs and there's crime and the city's just kind of filthy. He tells Hogan... I keep saying Hogan.
You can call him Hogan because it's Hawkeye and Logan.
Yeah, I know. Hawkeye and Hogan, our buddy comedy.
Aww.
He tells Logan not to worry, that the guys they're meeting, they have more money than they want to deal with. So they go into this back alley place, and they go into, like, this seedy, like, club looking at people, like, playing cards and shit. And he's like, hey, is the fat guy here? And there's this sleazy looking character in, like, this white suit named Tobias. And
he almost has a Hitler mustache.
He's got kind of a Hitler mustache going on, yeah. I can't tell if it's just too skinny of a mustache, but he definitely looks like Fat Hitler.
I think that's the idea. I really do now I'm looking at it. Because, oh my god, yeah, it's just Fat Hitler. Okay.
Fat Hitler would be an excellent Adult Swim cartoon. If anyone out there wants to make a Fat Hitler cartoon.
I like this idea as well.
Oh, I have eaten too many milkshakes.
Okay, I'm sorry, go ahead.
He was a vegetarian.
I was imagining that one where the kid has Adolf Hitler as his, like, imaginary friend.
Jojo Rabbit, yeah.
Yeah, Jojo Rabbit, and it's just that Hitler, but he's fat, and then...
Yeah, it's set in a world where Hitler is still, I'm still the Führer, I cannot get up the stairs. And...
Oh my god.
But no offense to our German-speaking audience, I am doing a bad accent because Hitler was a bad man, and he deserves no good German
accent. Absolutely. Call him fat and stupid. It's totally fine.
if any of you out there want to make a Fat Hitler cartoon, you have to give us at least some sort of inspired by credit on that.
Please.
So anyway, this is all getting cut out. So anyway...
Part of it.
We're just like, no, it's not. This is gold.
Most of it's staying.
At the end of this season, if, the Belch Brigade, between the Belch Brigade movie and the Fat Hitler cartoon,
okay, wait. Parallel world. We're gonna shove these universes together.
Is Fat Hitler a villain in the Belch Brigade world?
Yes. Yes. Write it, stamp it, complete it.
Yep, okay. Well, that's a t-shirt. Fat Hitler is a t-shirt. I don't know what it is. I don't know who's wearing it. So anyway, I don't even know who the heroes of the Fat Hitler show. I mean, I guess there are no heroes. It's like a very meta television show. So anyway...
Okay.
What we find out is they open up the package, and it's not drugs. What it is 99 vials of super soldier serum. Super soldier serum, of course, being the serum, the formula that made Steve Rogers. And it's the ultimate street level MacGuffin in a lot of Marvel comics. Is everyone wants to recreate the super soldier serum, and it only worked once.
Right.
Really?
Well. I don't think the president would like to hear you say that one. Oh,
yes. My apologies to the president. Not the real president, the president in the book. You never know.
Well, maybe
what
he tried it
someone's
too.
Gonna think. So Logan is like, what is this? And Hawkeye's like, yeah, we are going to remake the Avengers. There's basically this idea that there's this, like, rebel alliance. Tobias is fronting a super team. They have contacts on the West Coast, and they told him, take the super serum here, and they're going to start a new Avengers team. The villains are all dead. They're lazy. They don't like each other. Right. Now's the time. Hawkeye is basically like, but there's still something I need to negotiate. And they're like, what is it? And he's like, I want a spot on the team. Mm-hmm. He wants to be an Avenger.
Yeah,
again.
He still has that spark in him.
And they're all like, is this a joke? And he's like, Red Skull killed my friends. When this goes down, I want a piece of them. Or otherwise the deal's off. And they're kind of like, well, once an Avenger, always an Avenger. Right. And they're like, it's a deal. And Hawkeye is thrilled because he's like, this is great. Nobody's had any faith in me in so long. But Logan notices that they're kind of raising this gun behind him. And before anything can happen, they just shoot the shit out of Logan.
Blast him.
It's like blast him away. 1,000,000 bullets. Mm-hmm. And before Hawkeye can react, Tobias takes out a pistol and shoots Hawkeye in the chest. And it's revealed that this group were undercover SHIELD agents. SHIELD is normally a good group, but apparently it's been consumed by the villains to become villainous. And they're like, you just walked right into a sting operation. There is no super team. There is no rebel alliance. You really think that the president just wouldn't know everything that's going down? And Hawkeye's basically kind of gives them like a big fuck you. He's like, I'm surprised that fuck you isn't one of the lines in this. He's basically like, just
spit at them.
Yeah,
I would have loved to have seen that.
Do whatever you want. Like, I'm not going to beg for my life or anything like that. He's like, do your worst. And Tobias is like, okay, and shoots him in the head.
Yep.
And kills Hawkeye. And that's the end of chapter 6. It's a good turn. You probably can see the turn coming a bit if you know these type of like dystopian stories, like Total Recall or the Philadelphia Experiment even. But it's still a good turn.
It is a good turn, yeah.
And we go on to chapter 7.
No, I like this cover art. It's the Red Skull wearing Captain America's costume. And it's very fitting. The background is just black. And it's so contrasted that there's like just extreme brights and extreme darks. I really like how this one actually turns out. A person of evil wearing a man of good's costume.
Right. And regardless of what you feel about America or not for our foreign listeners or even our American listeners, Captain America is supposed to represent the best of what the ideals of the United States is supposed to represent. He is not partisan. He is supposed to be this humble, hardworking hero. Mm-hmm. So the idea of the Red Skull, a fascist, bigot, Nazi, is wearing his uniform is the ultimate disgrace.
Right.
And that continues in this issue. So we start off in chapter 7 again with another flashback to the 50 years before, and you see the end of the superhero battle, basically. It's in DC, the Capitol building is on fire, there's just ruins everywhere, and the Red Skull is standing there. And I won't try to do the Johann Schmidt voice, but I will do my best. Because he says,
so good.
What are you whispering, Captain? And Captain America, at this time it's Bucky. It's the Bucky outfit. But it could be Steve, it could be Bucky, it could be Sam. It's Captain America. What are you whispering, Captain? Is that a prayer? Well, there's no God here today. Just me. And he goes on and he gives this speech, basically just taunting Captain America.
Yeah, and Cap's crying.
Cap's crying. And he's like, we're going to divide up the country and guess who gets the White House. And Cap cries and he goes, who would want the rest of the world? So I guess that means the rest of the world is like gone, basically.
It must. Like, do you think they had other villains take like care of everybody else? Like,
or they shot off nukes or something, or like something happened. They just kind of torched the rest of the world, which could explain why Doom would be pissed off, because he is a proud Eastern European, Latvian dictator. Mm-hmm. So Skull kills Captain by pressing he Oberons him. Spoiler alert. He takes his thumb and crushes his head.
Yep.
And we get to the new White House, which is complete with Nazi symbolism everywhere, and it looks like something that would be in the Reich. And then there is this trophy room, and you see Red Skull standing there. He's got Captain America's mask on because, again, he wants to basically disgrace his
enemies,
his foes. but he's got trophies of all the heroes. So I think he collects these as time passes, as they find
I'd
this
imagine.
stuff.
Absolutely, yeah.
Like, I don't know if he had it all. Like, he definitely grabbed the shield is his prize possession.
That's why it's at the top.
Right.
Yeah.
This would be the shield we'd have to get in this world. I don't know how we're going to get it, but like maybe we could make a heist movie where folks at home write a heist movie where Shelf Life goes into the Red Skull's White House to steal the Captain America shield for my wall instead.
Sounds about right. Can I I'll take Iron Man's suit. Yeah, that'd be kind of fun.
Yeah, I mean obviously the Iron Man suit would be a good one. There's maybe Nova's
Thor's
helmet.
hat, you know.
Yeah, there's like an old Cap shield. Maybe Spider-Man's mask. I don't know.
Oh yeah, that could be fun. Strange's his cloak could be
Strange's
nice.
cloak.
You know, it's sentient.
Did he have to kill the cloak? Like, what happened there?
You must have, right? Or does it just not do anything now because Strange is gone?
So here's my other question. Because he's got Hulk's pants in there, I think. So did Hulk give him those pants?
Where do you see the Hulk pants?
So
they are Hulk pants. You're right.
Yeah.
Interesting. No, he must have just stolen them. There's no way he would have given them to him.
Okay. So my question is, because Red Skull usually does wear this big black leather coat thing too, but does he put the Captain America suit on all the time? Or does he only put it on for special occasions?
Is it a Superman thing where he can just rip his shirt open and he's got the Captain America on?
Well, because, like, he's getting a new reward. Like, he knows they're bringing in Hawkeye, so is he like, as I'm dressing up for my enemies to see Hawkeye dead will see me as Captain America?
No,
or does he just...
I think he just walks around the White House with this on. I don't think he plans on it when people come over. I think it's just like, I just like to have it on, you know.
This is his evening
because he
gear.
does say,
my wife thinks I'm morbid, Heinz.
The ancients wore the skins of their enemies, right? So like, he's like, this is the same. This is the way I do it. I won't wear his skin. I'll wear his. Well, this is his skin in a sense.
Okay. Well, he's perverted.
It's crazy.
He's more perverted than the Hulk.
Just a little bit. I don't know if I would go that far, but you know.
Well, he's still a pervert.
Yeah.
He's not a sex pervert that we know of. He's just a pervert. So he brings them in, and they brought Logan and Hawkeye, and these guys are too young to know who Wolverine is. It's not like they would recognize him. He's just a guy, right? So they bring them both in body bags.
Yeah.
Oh, like they say, like he comes to the trophy room to make decisions. I don't know what decision he was going to make, but he was coming in here to like think or something. So Tobias walks into the room. He's basically like, they really thought the super soldier serum is what had everyone excited, and they're like, well, the Captain America rising from the dead is like a myth.
Right.
To many Americans. Like, the idea of Captain America coming back to save the world is a myth. Mm-hmm. Well, he's not coming back this time, Tobias. And they're like, you know, I can't believe that you want Hawkeye as part of your trophy room. And I had to look this word up because Skull says, it would seem churlish now not to stack him with the Parkers and the Starks. So I looked up the word churlish, but if you Google churlish, you get where the definition is Merriam-Webster's. It's a word that means kind of like uncouth, surly. The dictionary gives you a picture of Donald Trump.
Are you kidding? Are you?
I didn't look it up that way.
Fucking hilarious.
That's what happens when you Google.
Churlish. Oh, that's it. That's my new word now.
Yeah. So if you Google that, that's.
I gotta do it. Hold on.
I'm not making a comment one way or another.
Oh my god.
Yep, that's what you get. That's what happens. I wasn't kidding.
Webster. Oh my god, does he know about this?
I don't. I'm not gonna say anything politically one way or another. I'm just gonna say I don't see Donald Trump using the word churlish.
Oh no.
So I don't see him Googling it.
That's actually, well, unless somebody says it to him. Somebody Google that.
Someone Google that, please. So Skull asks Tobias, like, how many more would-be heroes are out there? And Tobias is like, not any that we can't handle.
Mm-hmm.
And he basically says, "You've done well. Take the money that you were going to give to Hawkeye and use it for yourself for some fun."
Mm-hmm.
The other henchman is kind of like, "There's something wrong with this other guy." And Skull's like, "Yeah, you shot him." And he's like, no, there's something wrong with the wounds. They're disappearing. Now, I like this book. But I think that they missed an opportunity here. They missed an opportunity for Skull to walk over and go, "You idiot. It's Wolverine." And
yes.
As he's saying it.
Oh, that would be such a villain thing to do.
Yeah. Like, "You idiot, you brought Wolverine here."
Yes.
Even though they all know that he went pacifist. Like, you still wouldn't want Wolverine to show up.
Yeah, you'd still be kind of wary. I would be wary. You know, you just... you never know.
What happens instead is still fine. He's like, the wounds are disappearing, and as he's saying it, he gets kicked in the crotch.
Yep.
By Logan, who has an adamantium skeleton, so I assume a kick to the crotch would hurt like hell.
Ooh, that's a good point.
So then he punches a couple of people, he hits Tobias over the head with a chair, and then he turns his attention to Skull, and Skull is like, "I thought you walked the path of the righteous, Wolverine. Mm-hmm. Is it because we killed Hawkeye?" And the two of them start to fight.
Yep.
And you get a good fist fight between Red Skull and Logan.
It's brutal.
And they're just going back and forth, they're punching each other.
Breaking everything.
Red Skull keeps throwing Logan into a bunch of the trophy cases, and he's like, "You're out of shape, you can't do anything."
Oh, and then he locks them into the trophy room, the two of them.
Yeah, right, because he wants to take out Wolverine. Like, what a trophy to have, the Logan skeleton. That would be a good trophy.
Oh, that would be a good trophy, yeah. I'll give him that one.
So
that is a good idea.
So he locks them in, and he decides that he's going to try to take them out. So he picks up the Black Knight, who is another Marvel hero, his sword, and he's like, "You should have stayed in whatever hole that you were in, and you would die in your bed." And as he goes to take and bring down the sword onto Logan's head, we get a shot of
a hero
Logan.
shot.
A hero shot, because Logan is grabbed, because when he fell into the case, well, all the cases kind of fell, and he picks up the shield. And you get the clang of the sword against the shield, and the sight of the shield being used against him freaks Skull out, because it always stops him. So Skull gets kind of pissed, and Logan just starts going to fucking town.
Yep.
And to see the son of a bitch Red Skull get his ass kicked by the Captain America shield, he just keeps getting hit and whacked and whacked. And he gets thrown in, and even Logan's like, "Stay down, you son of a bitch."
Right.
And he's just kicking his ass with the shield. And Logan has the shield raised high, and Skull is like, and it looks like he's gonna like kill him with it somehow. I don't know how he's gonna do this. And Skull's like, "Don't make me laugh. You haven't got the guts." And Logan takes him up on his bluff. Rachel, would you like to explain what we get?
Our third decapitation. A lovely decapitation.
Not that she's keeping count.
I'm pretty sure it's a third, isn't it?
I think so.
Where the shield just goes right through his neck. Yeah. Just takes it right off. Yeah.
He takes his head off with the fucking Captain America shield.
It's beautiful. It's a good shot. It's actually a really cool shot though of it happening.
It's very gory, but that's what this book is. It's ultra violent.
If you like ultra violence, you'd like this. Yeah.
Very edgy, but very satisfying to see.
Mm-hmm.
So Logan's pissed. Logan has lost his, pacifist ways.
He's not getting the money. He needs that money for his family.
Well, what he does is, there's security outside. They're going to try to blow the doors down, and you can see Logan. If this was a live action thing, he'd be like, "Can't let down the kids. Can't let down the kids." Like, he's like looking all around the room, and he's like, "I don't know what to do. I gotta find a way to get out of here. I gotta find a way to get out of here." And he turns, and he sees
he's got to save his family.
The Iron Man armor is on the ground, and we get a nice close up of him, like, "Oh yeah,
yeah, that's right. That'll do."
So the Nazis blow down the door, And they're like, Mr. President, are you okay? And they see Logan wearing the Iron Man armor, and he just blows the shit out of all these henchmen.
Mm-hmm. Grabs the money and then just flies out of there.
Yep, flies out of there. Uses an Avengers protocol that Stark must have told them all to use if they needed.
Mm-hmm.
And he tells the computer, "Take me back to California."
Luckily, it still works. You know, I mean, that's a hell of a suit.
Well, it's Tony Stark.
That's
technology,
true. Yeah.
So it's advanced. It can work after 50 years of nobody using it.
Right.
Maybe Skull took it out for a ride once in a while, but he couldn't get it to work right because because they can't break the firewalls that Tony's got in there.
He doesn't know the codes.
Right. So we get some shots of him just flying across the country to get back, and it's very satisfying. He's gonna make it. He's gonna make it back. He killed the president. He's changed the world. And he doesn't really give a shit. He just needs to get back to his family.
Mm-hmm.
So he gets just a little bit outside of Sacramento, like 500 miles away, and the fuel gives out. And he's like, just keep going, just keep going, just keep going. But eventually the armor gives up.
Yep.
And he crashes into the desert. And he's just like, I gotta keep going, I gotta keep going. And he walks, and it takes him another 36 hours to walk back to the farm, but he gets there.
Yes.
And there's this old man waiting for him, and the old man has some news for Logan. Would you like to share the news?
I like how you make me give all like the worst.
Oh, you're right. I'll give the bad news. I'll give the bad news. You got to say that he chopped Red Skull's head off.
Yeah, so it's your turn.
All right, fine.
Ugh.
So Old Man Donovan is there, and he's like, "I've got the money. Tell the Hulk gang I got the money. We're fine. We're fine for life."
We think that there's it's a great moment. It's a powerful moment, and
but Old Man Donovan does have his hat off. He does look solemn, and he says, "Oh, Logan, the Hulk gang already been for their money." He's like, "We got 2 weeks left. What are you talking about?" And he's like, "They got bored." And you see the panel of his family has been butchered on the floor of their farm.
And just left there.
And left for dead. And they're just in pools of blood. And Logan is just staring at them. And Donovan is trying to tell him, like, "Now, Logan, don't you go doing nothing crazy. Don't you go hurting nobody." Because he is afraid that if Logan does something, they're going to take it out on everybody. And they're like, and he's like, "Logan, you can't take them all on. They're all Hulks.
Exactly.
Then they're just going to take it out on us. Like, just give them a good Christian burial now and just move on." And it zooms in on Logan's face, and you get this change in the face.
Mm-hmm.
And the art conveys it because the eyebrows go up, and you get this Wolverine-like shot. And he says, I can't do the voice, I wish I could, but the name isn't Logan, Bob. And then a 2-page spread of the words "snicked."
Oh, yeah.
Which is the sound effect that has accompanied Wolverine's claws coming out for 70 years or 50 years or whatever it's been. And the next shot is just a bloody hands of Logan, and it says, "It's Wolverine."
And the claws are out.
And the claws are out. He's broken the vow because he's got nothing to live for anymore.
Exactly.
And now we go into the final chapter.
Which they changed the name. Is that like a thing? Was it supposed to stop there? Is that it?
No, I feel like they wanted to make a special comic for the last one.
Okay.
I think because it goes from being part of the Wolverine run to a standalone comic, and I think that's all. Sometimes they do that so that they can charge $4.99 for it instead of $3.99 for it.
Sure, yeah,
whatever.
But the cover art for this one, and I think it's very telling of what is to come. It's called Giant Size Wolverine Old Man Logan, and it's Wolverine now. It's not Logan. It's Wolverine, claws out, Hulks dead, and fighting. Yeah, it's very menacing with a giant Hulk coming out of like a hole, but you can tell Wolverine's back.
So we start with 2 of the Hulks are washing off in some watering hole, is what it says. It's just like a reservoir,
I guess. Yeah.
And the one's complaining because Pappy Banner wouldn't let him eat Logan's kids.
Yeah, because they eat them.
Yeah, they eat them.
They eat people. They're cannibals. People. So they're not just... well,
they're Hulks. I don't know if they're human at this point.
It's gross.
They're meta-human, I guess.
Well, at this point, they really are like a horror movie. Like the gross hillbilly horror movie of eating cannibalistic and incestuous. It's gross. It's just gross.
We do find out a couple things here. We find out that redheads taste like bacon.
Yeah, that's interesting.
Yeah, I wouldn't have thought that. I would have thought more like, I don't know, like a pork. I guess pork is bacon. So
gross.
I guess that holds up. Folks at home, let us know.
Don't ever let me know. I will report you.
But then we find out that the Hulks are into Jim Belushi movies. Billy Bob found a copy of K-9, so they're going to watch that later.
Is that supposed to be a jab at Jim Belushi?
I think it's supposed to be a jab at Jim Belushi that hillbillies or rednecks like his movies.
Yeah.
I think that's the joke. That, like, this is hillbilly humor.
Figures.
Like, Mark Millar would think hillbillies like Jim Belushi because it's crap or something, you know?
Right.
So, in one of the shots, one of these guys just goes down. Don't see him. Like, they're just standing back to back, and then, like, they're out of the frame. And, like, you can picture in your head the sound dropping out and just hearing, like, crickets.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just, Rufus, where'd you go? He turns around, and there's the second Hulk, and his there's parts.
It's just parts of him. It's so gross. But it's like, just body parts floating in the water.
And Wolverine just shoots up out of the water, and then the next shot is blood.
Yep.
So then the next scene is a few more Hulks, and they're at a bar, and they're talking about, they took the Game Boy, they took a doll, they, like, took trophies, basically.
Mm-hmm. The one's eating an arm. I don't know where the hell he got that.
The one is eating someone's arm. While they're bragging, the lights go out. And suddenly a window is broken. And then, like, one of them gets pulled down.
The bartender turns a flashlight on.
No, one of the Hulks turns a flashlight
Was it? I thought it was, oh, no, you're right. Never mind.
I don't know where the bartender just gets the hell out of there.
Yeah, okay, so one of the Hulks turns on a flashlight.
And what we're witnessing, folks, is a Wolverine berserker mode. It's what it's referred to in the comics. It's when he just decides to let the animal come out and go off the fucking handle.
Mm-hmm.
Best live-action version of that is probably an X2, which we'll get to one day.
Yeah, it's cool.
It's a great... It really is one of my favorite scenes in a movie ever, but we'll get to it one day. But they turn the flashlight on, and Logan has his claws just through the head of this Hulk. And there's this, like, blood coming out of his mouth.
He must have ripped his throat out.
Yeah. Yeah. Is that what he did?
I think he ripped his throat out.
So he kills them. And then the next scene is the scene where it contradicts the idea that it's called Hef's Mansion. So it's clearly supposed to be like the Playboy Mansion. But it's just a brothel.
Yeah, it's a brothel.
And the one Hulk's like, well, thank you very much, ma'am, and you just tell the girls when they regain consciousness. And there's all these babes, like, on this big bed, and they're all, like, passed out. So that makes me think that they can have sex with these women.
Well,
they just kind of...
They might not be using full power, and two, they're incestuous children, so they may not, have the biggest members anymore.
Teeny weenies. You don't think
it's kind of my guess.
They don't have a full Hulk down there.
No, because they're like half Hulk constantly. Like She-Hulk. She's like doesn't really go back to human, right? Does she ever go like? Could she switch?
Not really. Not most of the time in the comics. So, I'm sure there's comics out there where she does.
Sure. But... My guess is with these guys, they're constantly in like a halfway state of being human.
They're
and
always
Hulk.
No, but they're not as strong as
they're not
Banner.
Full Hulk, but they're like halfway there.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think they're full Hulk, and I don't think they're full human. I think they're just like right in the middle. So maybe that's why they're able to,
They don't have a full Hulk down there, just a half a Hulk.
Yes, they just have a half a Hulk, you know.
I only was able to get about a half a Hulk.
Oh God, gross.
I can't get full Hulk going. This never happens to me, ladies. I'm sorry, everyone listening.
It's gonna happen.
But as they're exiting, you kind of see like a fire has started outside.
Yep.
And the next frame, the next cell, is my favorite of the entire story.
Yeah.
It is Wolverine in a duster and a big ass cowboy hat, covering his eyes. Claws are out and bloody. Mm-hmm. He's standing in front of the Fantastic car, and he's just waiting for them to come out.
Oh yeah.
And it's the most badass shot of the entire book.
Yep.
And he kills them. So then we end up at the Banner Lair. And the Banner Lair is a trailer park.
Yeah.
Yeah. But you'd think that the Hulks would live in something better, but it's a trailer park with a cave.
Yep.
And
which is apparently where Bruce lives. In the cave.
Bruce lives in the cave. They're kind of like, do you really think that Wolverine's going to come after us? And you see like a shadow of Banner, and he's like, yo, you bet your ass he's coming. And he's like got like a big grin on his face.
Mm-hmm. Like that was the plan all along.
Wolverine flies the Fantastic Car into this trailer park, kills more Hulks, and you get one of the Hulks has been chained up to a bomb. I don't know how Wolverine learned this, but he's got him chained up to a bomb on the Fantastic Car. A bomb is strapped to his mouth, and he just blows up all the rest of the Hulks.
Oh, yeah.
It's fantastic. And we get Wolverine saying, no more talking. I'm just here to kill you people.
And then
he just...
gore.
We get another decapitation.
Oh, yeah. Number 4
He decapitates the woman.
Yep.
He just starts... Yeah, It's a couple of pages of him just kill.
Until we get to Bruce.
Then he shouts into the cave for Banner. He's like, get out here now. And Banner has become this old-looking, skinny man.
Yeah, kind of creepy.
He looks crazy.
Oh, he looks crazed, absolutely.
And he tells him, like, you're gonna wake the baby. Like, I can't do, like, a Weasley Banner.
Yeah, I know.
You picture him being kind of like a Weasley voice at this point.
Yeah, where he's like making that noise all the time, too. Like,
gross.
Enjoy.
That's not ASMR that I would enjoy.
I just picture that. Like, that's that old man constantly licking his teeth and stuff.
So he's like, he's a shriveled man. He starts to fight him. He missed this fight. He loves it. He has the strength of the Hulk now in human form. I assume because he's embraced the Hulk, because he's gone crazy now.
Right.
This is where we find out that he made it with his cousin.
Yep, he reveals all of that as they fight.
He picks up a dead cow. He tries to hit him with the dead cow.
I don't think it's dead.
He's got like a pole through him.
Oh, I guess, yeah. Never mind. You're right, it's a dead cow.
Wolverine just rips the cow in half as it lands on him, which is ridiculously gory. I think it's just so that Wolverine can be covered in blood for the next few shots. And Wolverine just eventually is like, just shut up. This isn't a joke. I'm gonna kill you. And he stabs Banner through the chest. And he says, that's for my wife and kids.
No.
And now the comic book gets weird again. If it hasn't been weird to this point, it gets even fucking weirder.
Yep.
This is my least, even the incest part, this is my least favorite line of the book. So Banner's like, you idiot, and punches him away, and he's like, you made me angry.
Mm-hmm. Which is a Hulk thing, which is fine. That's a Hulk line,
but he always says, you won't like it when I'm angry.
Right.
He says, people piss themselves when I'm angry.
Yeah, I hate it.
I don't like that line.
I hate it.
And he looks like this big, disgusting, shriveled thing. I said he looks like a raisin that became sentient.
Yeah, I like it. Like or like a prune.
Yeah, he looks very prunish. And the next shot is just a page shot of him grabbing Wolverine and chomping down on him. So he eats him. He eats Wolverine alive. And that's the end of the story.
All right, see you guys later.
Like and subscribe.
Ugh.
Find our Patreon. So The next little bit is 12 hours pass, and we have the last Hulk shows up, and it's Billy Bob. Billy Bob shows up. He's one of his grandsons, Bo's oldest boy. And he went to get those Jim Belushi movies, and he comes back, and everybody's dead.
Yep.
And you get Banner, and he's just sitting there like, oh. Like, I just picture him sitting there just like, oh, God.
Got, like, the meat sweats.
I ate an entire Wolverine. This is where Banner says, well, I don't really care that they're all dead because I've got this little baby Hulk.
Right.
And he's perfect. He's little baby Bruce. And it's this, I don't know if anybody here has watched The Grinch, the live action Grinch. But if you look up the baby Grinch, who is a creepy motherfucker, that's what baby Bruce looks like here. Yes. That's what the baby Hulk looks like.
It does. It really does.
That or like, I mean, I don't know. If folks at home, if you have a little, if you have a baby, if you want to do baby Bruce for Halloween and hashtag shelf life in that, I'd be very excited if you did that. Just paint your baby green. Interesting. Put a blue shirt on him. I want to see some little baby Bruces out there. Hashtag, like, at Mark Millar in it, too.
Oh, yeah,
Steve
absolutely.
McNiven. They'll just be like, what the hell? Like, just to see if they remember that they drew this little baby monster. So anyway, this is where Banner is basically like, we can just go to the brothel and we'll just start this thing all over again.
Right.
We got you, we got me, we got baby Bruce, we're good. Like, we'll just go find some chicks.
Yep.
And it's like, well, if you can get those chicks, why the hell did you need She-Hulk?
Idiot.
So that's right. That's what I mean by Mark Millar putting stuff in the books for more of like a, isn't that edgy versus like,
yeah.
Why did you put something that contradicted it? Mm-hmm. One or the other. But anyway, so he's like, he's got the meat cramps. He's going to take a massive wolvie dump or something because he's got a stomach ache.
Right.
And Billy Bob puts together like, well, why would you eat Wolverine?
The genius of the group.
Powers?
The genius of the group.
And Banner's like, oh, I guess he didn't think about that.
Yeah, seriously.
And he's like, the little runt. And Wolverine busts through his belly and just slashes through the Hulk and just leaves him dead.
Yep.
Slashes him from the inside out. It's a gross image. I don't think it's as effective or cool as Mark Millar thinks it is.
Yeah, I don't like it.
It's kind of a, like,
it's just gross.
It's not as satisfying to me as the Red Skull death.
No, the Red Skull death that was great. We didn't need this.
I thought all of the Hulk deaths up to this one were very good.
Yep.
I don't know I don't know if I have an alternative on it. I just don't think it's as good as the rest of the story.
Sure.
So then Logan demands the boots and the hat from Billy Bob, and Billy Bob's like, "You can take whatever you want, just don't hurt me and stay away from the baby." And Wolverine's like, Banner killed my family. Why would I not take his family?
Exactly. Yep. An eye for an eye, pretty much.
We cut to a month later, and Logan is paying respects to his family.
And so is like the rest of the town, yeah.
And the rest of the town is there. Yep, the rest of the town is there. They're basically like, you know, they got the toys back. They got something back for him, and he's gonna leave. And they're like, "Do you have to leave, Logan?" And he's like, "I got nothing left here. Of course I'm gonna leave." And the townspeople are all like, "You can't do anything, Logan. It's not possible. You're gonna die, Logan."
After he did all of that, and they still don't believe in him.
Well, I mean, the one person's like, you really gonna bring down the monsters, Logan? You really gonna bring back some law and order? And he's like, I got nothing better to do now.
Right.
Like,
so
my family's
at least
dead.
I can try.
And we find out that he's got baby Bruce.
Yep.
In
strapped
like
to his
papoose.
back.
Yeah, strapped to his back. So he took baby Bruce, and he's gonna make baby Bruce.
See, that's a good father-baby costume right there. You could be Wolverine, and the baby can be
definitely.
Baby Bruce.
I want to see Old Man Logan's with baby Bruce cosplay.
Please.
Oh, hashtag shelf life. Or whatever it is. So he's like, yeah, the old man's like, "You're going to get yourself killed.
Right.
You can't do this, Wolverine. You can't do it, Logan."
And then
I guess JR is that.
I was gonna say, oh my god.
But then he's like, hey, they killed me 50 years ago,
Yep.
and I just got better. He rides off into the sunset with baby Bruce on a horse to apparently go reform some sort of Avengers team.
Yep.
And that is the end of the book, and that is the end of Old Man Logan.
Yeah.
Rachel, the time has come. Does Old Man Logan have shelf life?
Absolutely. I'm not even gonna hesitate on that one. I really like Old Man Logan. I think it's great. I do think there are parts like we were talking about where it's like, okay, that it's unnecessary, or like, okay, calm down a little bit. But I like the concept, I like the story, and I like Wolverine, I like Logan, and it's just very entertaining to see an alternate universe where all of this is happening.
Yeah, for me, I own the graphic novel, so it's on my shelf.
Of course.
But yeah, it has shelf life. It's a fun book. It's edgy, for sure.
Yes.
It's ultra-violent for sure, so if that's not your thing. But that's just Mark Millar's way. But it's a fun world. It's a very fast read. It's a fun read. It's a gory read. And it's an interesting world. It's cool to see world building and like just the 8 issues that you get it in.
Yeah, and like I was saying, you get the alternate reality that you get to kind of like play with and get to see what would happen.
Yeah. No, it really is fun. I didn't watch it in preparation for reading the book because I want us to have like our own thoughts, but there's a fun YouTube channel where it's like a few people that like comic books, but one of them is like more of an expert on the comics, and he basically tells you the story to like a couple of his friends. It's called Back Issues. And they did Old Man Logan as like one of the episodes like a long time ago, and I think I've watched it a long time ago. And I remember like him telling the story and his friends always being like, "No, what?" Like, and it is like, but Rachel and I are going to go through this saying that, but the first time you read it, you are like, "The fuck just happened?"
Exactly.
Like, it is crazy. If you saw it on our list as the part of the season 1 and you read it beforehand, hopefully you had that experience. But if you haven't read a comic book, I'm not saying this is the place to start if you don't like ultra-violence or you think that the gore is too much or you're not going to get all the Easter eggs. But it is definitely a fun read, and it could be a good way to start reading them because it is a solid story. It's succinct. It has no preconceived notion about it, and it just kind of it ends in a satisfying way.
Yeah, it does stuff that you kind of don't expect. So it kind of reels you in a little bit too.
Right, and it's nice to see Logan get revenge for the heroes. It's a good ending with him riding off on the sunset. The only part that's questionable to me, other than the weird She-Hulk stuff and the spider buggy, no, not the spider buggy's fine. It's just a stupid thing that they decided, like, well, we could use that, is the fight with the Hulk. The actual fight with the Hulk, right. I don't like.
Yeah.
But I really do like all the rest of the stuff in the book. We will eventually talk more about Old Man Logan because, of course, nothing in comics can just be a one-off. So maybe we find out what happens next to Old Man Logan, or maybe that's just the end of his story.
Yep.
So maybe in your headcanon, Rachel, you take out the She-Hulk part or something like that. I don't know. In my headcanon, or maybe in somebody's headcanon out there, that's the end of Old Man Logan's story. Or you can piece together the puzzles of, like, did he save the world? Did he find a new Captain America?
Right.
Was he able to make Ashley a hero? Did he go and get Ultron? Did Ultron become a hero? Maybe we'll find out one day. I don't know.
That'd be interesting.
But, well, spoiler alert, there are...
I assumed there was going to be something afterwards. Comics. I haven't read those, so...
I have not gotten to them. I'm
interested.
I've only read the first volume, but we'll definitely get there if they're needed.
Sure.
One thing to point out, Mark Millar, as I said, wrote some Fantastic Four comics for the Ultimate Universe. He wrote a lot of the Ultimate Universe. There's an issue in the Ultimate Universe where a hooded figure from the future comes.
Okay.
And he has a Hulk-like person with him named Bruce. and some other heroes, and they call themselves the New Defenders. And you find out that he doesn't go by Wolverine; he goes by the Hooded Man. And so the idea is like, oh, was this? And it actually came out way before Old Man Logan.
Oh.
So it's like, oh, was like this that like his I want to do this kind of story.
Oh, maybe it
and then,
is.
like it became Old Man Logan.
Oh, interesting.
So anyway, that is that. But yeah, that's our first comic book. I have no idea how long that will be, but hopefully that you all enjoyed that episode on Old Man Logan. It makes the shelf. It has some shelf life. Our first comic book in, Rachel. Any parting thoughts for the people?
It's just it's a good one. It's one that I kind of go back to. So, and I'm excited to kind of go on to do more comic books as well. So I hope you guys enjoyed this one.
Definitely. I think my sentiments exactly. All I can say is be sure to check out Old Man Logan and make sure to find any of those trinkets at Hammer Falls if you make it there.
Definitely.
And
like and subscribe. Follow us on Twitter. I don't have a Twitter.
Follow me on Tinder. Follow... But yeah, definitely. I hope that this is something different compared to a lot of the podcasts out there that we would delve into comic books. So definitely give us some feedback on how this one went, and we will do it regardless of the feedback. But we'll keep going.
Yep.
So, Shelf Life rolls on. We continue our journey through culture on our next episode. I'm Old Man Kevin,
and I'm Old Woman Rachel.
I'm Old Woman Rachel.
No, I'm just Rachel.
Rachel's just Rachel. And this has been Shelf Life. Thank you, and we'll see you next time.
Squad steak!